stripes.
Ooh,
bright stars through the
perilous fight,
o'er the
ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
oh,
Say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free
and the home of the brave.
home of the brave, home of the brave.
Hoi ki moe haamata pule ku fia e moto a whai whatangia ke taitale reia ki motolu ki he paenga Vake Tali Folau i he fiafini. Pea ki mua ke tau kamata ko loto ke tuku atu ha whamalo maalunga taha te ulawa ke tau tamai he wani kono whakakoloa a ki koe pea mo whamiri. Mo ki tau tolu katoa pe e tonga katoa pe i he tapa katoa pe o e kolope ke tau hausia e aho whakakoloa ko eni. Pea i hene pehe o tau fia maua pe haka i he langi kua tau ko ia koe ofa ta e whiwhi manako ai tamai he wani o tāpui kina koe pea moau o tau ausia i ai ahoni. Fia mau pe foki ai moto a whai whatangia ke lawe i he motu ani o ku lau maari le rei maua pe ai ne awhiwhio. Ai tamatui tau whahau tupou wono kauma foki e tahine kuini na naspau u tuku aho pea moe whare o haa moe ofo. Taitari le rea ki mo tolu e ho eki mo haa matapule malo e lau maari e moe ngahi ngau e moe ngafa o he ahoni. Kauma foki ai tonga katoa pe o kumea mai e ngai tapa kehe o e kolope. Whamalo maua i pe ke teki mo tolu o kumo kau mai maua i pe mi Francais Itali kauma foki a Austria mo Sweden pea me ngai whanua kehe o Europe. Pea koki mo tolu o kumo kau maua i pe pea me he ngai whanua o Asia, Siaina, kauma foki a Hong Kong, Taiwan, kau foki ai Sri Lanka, kai umaa foki a Siapani, o kutolahi au pito ho tau kakai tonga ai, me he motu koia i Olunga, Hokkaido, aloi peke motu whakaosi koia o Siapani, Kyushu. Pea moki montolu koia o kumo kau mai me Fukuoka, Prefecture, taitari whiawhia ki montolu i ho mo tuku taimi, pea koia i ho eki mo e hamata apure mo tonga kotoa pe, o ku hounga ka teki mautolu i ho mo tuku taimi ka mo mea mai ki he paenga o e Vake Tali Folau. Ko e taimi whakeni o ku whaingata a ko e taimi teu i ai ngahi mea takoni ki he ngahi hoa kau maa whoki ai whanau, kau maa whoki ai whangakui mo kau tau reka katoa pe. Pea o ku honga i ka teki mautolu, o ku mau whai whatongia pea me he paenga o e Vake Tali Folau. Tu whoki ha whamalo, ki a whai whikau mo i whohe kau maa whoki nau tolu katoa pe na nau whai ngai polo kalama maa ki mo tolu. Pongpongia i he reti o whakalotu ai Vake Tali Folau. Tu whoki ha whamalo ki a sio nei to lau mga hiri, ka maa whoka Emily Toff mga hiri. Ko e ngahi polokalama ne whahoka atu mi he main substation ko ia ai Vake Tali Folau. Ko e channel manager whoki ia, son to lau mga hiri, ka maa whoki aho no hoa. Emily Toff mga hiri ko e production manager ia ai Vake Tali Folau. Whamalo whoki ki a James Bond po me pia me he substation ko ia o kui ko VDF Hollywood. Ko ia ko ngai program fra ofa pia me he substation ko ia ka ma foki ai Voice of Tonga ko substation ia taha o Vake Tali Folau me Seattle, Washington. Na nau toki osi ai proklama ko ia pe i hoa e tolu ko ende tau whiao pia moau pe me he PYU Provo mini substation ko ia e Vake Tali Folau hoko ia ko ha tāpuaki ke te au ke lava ke tau wheke te ngaki vahe a ngai mea ke mo uile rei ako i he ulaki hoa ko ia hono ua i he ni ai a ki nau tolu ko ia me he wike ko osi aia o ku ko e kautaha ko ia ko e pika hono ui whakatene ka okulahi au pito ai ngahi resources ke tokoni a ki mo tolu ko toa pe i ngai whaingataa ke kehe i he COVID-19 reni markets mo ngai mea pehe pea koe mea maari ta koe o ku nau whitu taki ke ngai u state ko toa pe pea o kumhau inga rewa ke kau mai ki ai, ke ilo hataha te whie mau e nau toko ni, te nau tā mai pe ke whika goia e tuku atu anai, pea lawa ke nau koneki nau tolu ke ngai state goia o kumau me ai, pea mau ngai toko ni goia o whie mau. Pea o te mau mā, he uku ngawe aki ania he kaupālangi, ngawe aki he kakai goia o tau i koe Blacks and African American, ka maa whake Hispanic. Mo e kau e siya pe. Ko ngahi paanga nia pia me he federal mo ngahi private pe unau donate ke tokoni ke kakai ko toa pe uwhie mao ai tokoni. Pia i heua whakaosi ko e programa whukia utawanga maheni ki ai ko e te fua a wakalautala me an teki nau tolu na o ko e alaminai o e Tonga High School pe hono ui e taha ko e apiako maalunga o Tonga. Kore ati ke mou mea mai ki loto ke paenga pea mo ekipe kai vahe atu ai proklama share e proklama ke lahi taha te ke lava ko hi ke kau maa whaahinga ko wholoa e nau puri piko whahinga te kai ke nau kau mai ke tau proklama ke lava ke tāpui kina ki nau tolu e ngai ilo o kuou iloi e aonga ki o nau whaamiri whanau mo e whakamoko puna ko rea te ke tumua ke taitare rei mo tolu e siare iong pe ka hiri ko ia tau toki foki mai o kamata e tau proklama.
In Tonga they say, malo lele. In Fiji they say, Pura Vinaka. In Samoa they say, Talo Falava. In New Zealand they say, Kiora Oe. In Hawaii they say, Aloha Oe. But in America, a happy day. Fia Maupe. In Tonga they say, Malo Lele. In Fiji they say, Pura Vinaka. In Samoa they say, Talo Falava. In New Zealand they say, Kiora Oe. In Hawaii they say, Aloha Oe. But in America, the happy day. Fia Maupe. Awe, te vai na Tahiti. Vake Tali oe, alomi e. Awe, te vai na Tahiti. Vake Tali oe, alomi e. Tahiti nu ia te whare aue, taua erea. Mama, ia te uri aue, pea te urua. Aue oie. Aue la oe au, mama e. Aue la oe au, mama e.
Malo pito pea whamalo mao e peka te mo tolu ho e ki mo e hamata pule mo tu taimi ke mo mea mai ki he programa lofa talamatangi i he fiafini ko au a whapalu te u whahoka atu a e tau programa ko ia he fiafini pea toki kau mai hani ke he hoa noa pea mo e hoa hono tolu pea whamalo he ni ki he tu he fini ko ni ka lupe kakao manu malo pito ai kau mai share e tau programa pea ko lupe kakao manu ko e onaia o e kautaha ko ia o kui ko e fietokoni Trading USA ai au ke ota be ai kiki ko ia ki o family tau te fito ko e alat fuke ni ki he taimi o ngai malolo whakapure anga pa ko e holiday hange ko ia o amanaki ki he wike kau ai Thanksgiving kau maafo ki e Christmasi ko e whika telefoni, whānoa walu, ono taha walu, hiwa taha hiwa, e tāpe ki ai, pa ke make arrangement lewa, pa ke totongi heni Amerikani, kai te riwa atu ia i Tonga Eiki. Malo o pita lupe ai kau mai ki he pāinga. Tuka wha malo ki he tahine polisi, ka koe taha whuki ai kau tare kita o e Vake Tali Folau, ki a Honorable Mary Mele la tu taulahi, ko ia kono toka ngai mau ai pēa pāinga mi he polokalama ki he polokalama, substation ki he substation. Ko ia ofalahat ka te koe mele pēa malo ai ngawelahi mi hena. Whamalo ko Lindsay Pome ko e purelahi ia o VTF Hollywood. O kui heni mo ki tautolu i he tainimi ko Lindsay Pome ko e hoa whukia o James Bond Pome ko e taha ia kautare kita o e Vake Tali Folau. Pea una whai programa mai pea me he VTF Hollywood. Pea kawat ki ai pea mo na whanau ai au ko iloa ko e Tapome Sisters. Te utoki lawi ki ai ha miniti me heni ka oku taitari whewhia ko e Lindsay. Pea ohua na angalo ho eiki mo hamata pūre ko e o naini o e lolo kakala te au. Whainga kakala pehe mamaniu ke whakaukau ki ai e lava maa tia pea me he lolo kakala te au. Whika telefoni, fitu ono noa, ono walu ono, no aua ko whika ia a Lindsay Pome. Ki he lolo alapasita, whamalo o pito i kau mai, ko e taha whukia ne ngahi lolo o ku tuaki ati me pāinga e Vake Tali Folau. Pea hounga mao e peke a teki mau tolu o hamo. Ai ngahi pisnisi koe ni unau ngau e aki ai pāinga. Pea laware ke whai ho mau, ho mau ngahi whatungia ki a teki mau tolu. E toki tuku atu e nau ngahi tuaki a nai yangi. Pea whamalo ke a Lucia Louis Thompson, ko e whiwhine business iloani i California. Pea ku whai a ngai teunga ke he teunga peo ke whakaukau koe o pehe o ku tau pea mo koe. Te ke lava pe o tahanoa ke ka Lucia Louis Thompson ke ne lava tuitui atu e teunga ko ia. Ko iai Emily lau kau tofu malo o pito Emily tofu ko e production manager whakeni o e Vake Tali Folau ko e hoa ia o e channel manager sontu alau magahiri malo o pito e kau mai ki he polokalama Emily o whaati kia moa pea malo o pito ai ngau e lahi mi hena e ho eiki mo e hamata pule mo ekipe ka e share atu e tau polokalama ki o mō ngahi friends, pia mō ngahi grupu ko ia o ko mō kawai. Ko e whiawhini, ko hi ko e hou e taha ko ni te whokirewa ki he mea o ku na e ririu ki ai, ai programa maha ko e mahi naini e taha me ua pia me ai. Ko e programa lofa talamatangi e hou eiki mo e haamata pūre, sponsor e programa ko ni Tapome Sisters. Mo wanga maheni, i he tōnaki katoa pē o ku whae ngai programa whakaako me he youth ki he youth. Pea i he tōnaki ko o sina lava ke nau whaeke eke mo whebo tānoa aki ai. Pea mo toketa Amber Christensen ko e maari ia o e foha o e tangata ko pālangi ko ia nei ngā whakau i Tonga ko Karistiane. Pea ko family no mari e ko hi ko empa ko toketa ko no mari ko toketa pea o kuako teu ai whanau e tokotolu ke nau alu ki he medical school te nau hoko katoa ko toketa ko e ngahi Whihui o ku whai e he pome e sisters o lava ke tuku mai ai e nau ngahi a usia. Ai kau toke tā mo i kau professional koe ni o ku lava ke nau kau whakataha. I he polokalama goia o kui koe ta youth hour. Koe youth hour. Pea te tau sio rewa ki he ngai halanga whanonga. Pea ku mahu inga ke tau ilo i ngai halanga whanonga o i toka taha katoa pe i he mala e o eako. Kai kua mea fo oweni ho eki mo haa matapule. Ko hi he utau wā maheni ma upe. Ka iai taha o kune ilo i aanga no tōko iai uwhi pia foha ma upe ne uwhi. Tau loto ke tau ilo i ko hako ai ki whakapuri-puri. Ta tau pe mo ngai mala e o eako, hoko e kakai ko ni ko ngai role model. Pia tau sio ki ai, pia ko mai e pe mo i kakai, pia mo i ai Tonga, mo i Pacific Islander, ka mafo ki e whainga ke katoa pe. Ko tui pe e wawene mai e kau mai e taha hoku kau ngā ngāu e koe toke taha koe ni pia mi si aina. Foloa o pito ne nofa ana i Amerikani, pia ko hoko ia koe sitseni o whanuani. O ku maari a ene halanga whanonga ana. Hau ia pia mi si aina, mi Shanghai, alu ki Nuusila, hau mi Nuusila ki heni, pia nofa i pe ia heni. Pia kai ki ngatai, ko he taha whukia kau top graduate, pia me University ko ia Chicago. Ko ia ku mahu inga, pia whakawhia ki mo tolu, hoi ki mo haa matapuri ke mo mea mai ke youth hour, ko nau tolu ia pai la Pomea Sisters, o nau sponsor polokalama ko ia i he laki hoa ko ia o e ahoni. O ku lahia ki mo tolu, ku mo whawhehu i mai whikau aki mo e whatuha mumu. Ko e whatuha mumu, ko e kakala ia o e makaho walu me uiha haapai, ka pau e whaingataa hono whamatala ia tū ka e lereiangi ha o whakatau, pia ke au tonu ki ai. Ko e tā ke whikau rinsi po me e ka e whitua no noa, ono walu ono noa ua. Pia i hene pehe ko e konga whokia o e lolo kakala te au, pia o kukau ai Pomea Sisters i he ngā au e whakataha pia mai nau whae, rinsi po me e i hono teu i ai lolo kakala te au. Pia ko au mo James po me e ko kau tra whare kau saipinge mau nof pei mui o te mau hopo ki loto. Saipe a James Bond po me ia kwe tonu ko au ko ve hala te nof pei mui toi pe mi. Kaike, ko e o atu a ni iho e ngahi o ngongo, pe wai ngahi o ngongo tuku ki he wike kaha u, whikau aki mo i kakai Tonga o kunau. Le rei au pito e nā wako, pia mo i spoti. Ka e ahoni, tuku atu ai ngai mea whikau aki pia mo i ako, kau maafoki e mo ui le rei, he koe polokalama lofa talamatangi, e tala he lofa ai masani, pia tala pia mo i matangi ko ia o kuhau. Aia koe matangi e ngai mea whakaako, kau maafoki ngai mea whakamoi le rei, pia i he ene pehe, e lava rewa ke tau pelu e tau la ke i mamao. Te ria nā tau tō ke ngai matangi ko ni pia au hia e ngai matangi whakaako pe koe matangi whakamoi le rei. Pia i he hefia fini e ho eki mo hamata pule. Ko ngai me ani na e whakaila pe ki ai ki mua ka loto ki te whai e whakamamafa ki ai he koe tolahi o i kakai o kunau tā mai, text mai o eke e whihu i whikau aki pia mo i vitamin C. Mo i ngahi nutrition, mo i supplement. Ka te u whaadaha ki tala noa, ui o mahu inga ki tala noa ki he uho ko ia o e niusi ko e ni. Pea ku whakatonga i ka pau e atpe niusi ko ni e whakamatala ta iai hano mui ati ki ai ata o ku ikai ke fuloko mahino le rei. Kage. Ko manatu i pe he tāmai hoku toko alahi Simon Nepal, ko maona ki api i La Jolla i San Diego. Pea koe mea nei maari e. Whiawhia tangatani maona ki api. Ke lava o nau hiki ki ai mo ne ki i whanau. Pea o kei ike ne ki i whanau he taimi koni. Ko whakafofua mahalo ko he wafe ma tolu. Wafe ma tolu en. Pea talamahe tangata ke teo. Oku iai swimming pool I mui I he api. Pea whai rewa e mau reunioni he wafe mawha. Pea mau teu atu mau tolu. He ku mau whakaukau mau tolu. Oku afu foka California taimi sama ko ni. Uhi ke te takota pita mohe pehe ve swimming pool baka te afu ia pe pa te kat ke swimming pool. Hange pe ia o ku te mohe piki taia e ki lalo akau I he matatahi ko ia I uiha. O te mautolo, Pea koe maari ene mawa atu he wafe mawha, whahifo e mauwhanga ki I ngā ota na mawomo ia, pea u eke angi ke he tōua. Hei, ko whea swimming pool? Tamai tangata, koe ni utu I mui he. Ma laka atu maoia koe ki mui ia, o kai ke ha swimming pool ia. O koe asimea nia koe musia nia na e toki tō, pea koe pea mo e ne talo, mo e la I pere, pea ki mo tau fu ua ai pea to eke angi ke tangata. Pea una ki tala mai o koe swimming pool, ko tangi io. Koe swimming pool weni, aeni o tō ai a musia koe, ko tangi ko hea huinga ku ke hangai o tanu e swimming pool. Ko e ku mana wahe ki e ku whanau, na whewhai kai mate hata, he unau ke iki. Tō he swimming pool. He ukai ke aha kawa ia o swimming pool. Aia ho eki mo hamta pule koe swimming pool, kai ke ngata be koe feitu uia o kulahi ai vai, ke hi koe uhi ke whakaahau ngai he whanau mo e whamiri ko tā pe he kaukau mo e whakamoko. Ka o kuyai e whahinga pool I he sino o e tangata. Pea ko loto ke whai ai vahe I he talanoa ko ia. I he kau whakakau ko ia ke mea kui ko vitamin C. I he eku whepotano aki moki nau tolu na nau whai mai ngai whehu ui. O ku haa mahino mai o te kiai ke ilo whakaluku fua o tau kakai ke mau inga o he vitamin C. Kau manatu peke he kai e tau mo manatu I foki. Hou eki mo ham tāpūri. O ku kehe e tau whai e mau mea tokoni. Ka pau ko manatu I mau pe I he ngalo e tau koe taha hoku ngahi me I atere ko no ingoa ko malakai manpuna me he funga whanua. Pea ko ne foki mau ai pe me eua hau pe moe ngai fuu kato mori peri. Mo manatu I ai mori peri on o funga whanua o kai ki te aha no tatau ona. Pea u tauanga maheni koe kai koe ai pālangi fo I mori e taha. Pea a pau e fuulahi e a o ua. Ka ulahi ange pe fo I vaeua pe o e fo I mori e taha. Ko manatu I au he mau nofo hifo koe fo I toko wha o mau kai pe e fukato mori o osi. O ku whamatala I he ngai whatotolo whakasaini si o peheni. Ko te kai koe ki fo I mori e taha pe mori e hua o te kai ke hau ia tau pehe ka pau ko ha te utu, ka pau ko swimming pool. Te hifo te kitai ke swimming pool ia o ku ngata mau pe fo I mori e taha pe fo I mori e ua ke lahi taha ko ia ke fo I mori e ua hange kai ko ia kau pahalangi o ku ngata pe lahi ia o e vai pe ko e vitamin C I he tui te kai ke au ia ke he ulu ai rewa ko e o ku maari he ku nehanga ia ko e whahinga kai ko ia a tau tolu tonga pea ko manatu I mau pe wha talamai tangata iki. Mō kai pepa mō manatu I ukai koe ospe kai pa mō mate a honi. Ka toi toi ka pong pong. Kai ke ka ha kato tawa, ngai tawa kula, pe ko ha kato mori, peri, pe mori vai keri pe a mei he funga whanua o ku kai ke whaalawa ta ofi. Pea ku haa mahino mai rewa I he tau funga, mau mea tokoni ko ia I tong hape koe taimi ko whakatau ha kato mango. Ko tō laha tau tōlu ai ki o tai, pe o ku whakamomoho ke momoho ange, pe tō laha tau tōlu ke tau te whipeo kai pe a mango ke whai mo osi. Tau te whito ka pau ke kato mango, me mango, mango resi. Pe koe mango kai mata, pe koe mango kalasini. Mahino mai rewa koe hanga e tau whainga kai, neonga utau kai da dafa I mori ono pe valu pe hongo fulu. Ko nea uia ai vitamin C I he ki I supulu ko ia I he sino. Kai ke ngata pe ala ke pe me va e ka ko wa uia ke he ulu. Ka ngai whata tolo no mahu inga pe maari e ku hi ko hanga ko e tau mau me tokoni tonga. Kai ke? I he ngahi whipota noa aki ho e ki mo hamata pule. Ke wahe aile waheni ko uhi ai mahu inga ko ia o e vitamin C. Se moa ke tuata haongo ki fo I whanongonongo heni me teki nao tolu na wanga ofa ke ngau a ke pahenga. Tau foki mei mo tau fo I fasi. Pe tau toho ke hoka te ke mahu inga ko eni o e vitamin C. Oa na mō alu ka mō nofo mai. He kou tui koe ahoni e lava ke mahino ne rei ai mahu inga vitamin C ke a teki mō tolu.
SF Enterprises. SF Enterprises. Oops, Oliver go te kamata fo. SF Enterprises. Kia auta ke ave ki tonga wawa o ke koha apai, ni mataha noa ua ni mataha ua fitu fitolu. Kia auta ke pigmi o mō apina fuanga, ni mataha noa ua ni mataha ua fitu fitolu. Koe tau ene tolu ngofuru e mau ka venga aki, ano ave a houta ke au ki tonga, ia fonga whai ngofu atu. Click and call SF Enterprises. Fika telefoni ni mataha noa ua ni mataha ua fitu fitolu, kai click and shift lewa a houta ki tonga.
Ko iai halolo ia ko ngahui pea vilohi, pea mix mei parataisi. Ke whakatori a ngahi whakaamu whakasino mo ata mai. Ke miri pea ke whakasanisani mo masani mo whakamanifi. Pea ke foto aki ia ke hakatoa ngā aholahi. Pea ke toki iloa e mamani, koe loloni ia, koe tāpua ki mei langi. O ua, he he!
Matala heliliva, fotu he kakala, he me akaingata, hotoloto e te noho, o tengi hia noa, mawai hotoloto isae, sigi he laula, oi se ke peko hai. Someone told me long ago, there's a calm before the storm, and I know it's been coming for some time. When it's over, so they say, it'll rain a sunny day, and I know shining down like water, yeah. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? Coming down on a sunny day. Yesterday and days before.
Whamalo au pito hoi ki moe haamata pule mo kei tuku taimi ka mo kau mai ki he programa he whiawhini pia me he piwa i Provo Substation pia whamalo ka tiki mo tolu o ku mo koe kau ona o ngai business o mo ngawe aki ai paenga o ku lava rewa ke whai ho mau ngai whatungia ka tiki mo tolu pia koloto pe ke tukato aki i whakatata ko e ni ui he koe ngai whakatotolo whasai nisi ka toa pe ko os whakapapau ai mahu inga o vitamin C. Pea koutou koe mahaki ko ia whakae sino o ku wanga maheni kia e kakai pea moe vitamin C. Koe mahaki koe na whaaui i he koe scurvy. Pea koe mahaki koe ni mana tui whenai hoko ke kauseila o nau alutahi o laulau mahina o kaike ai ha whainga fruits ia te nau lava o mao ke mao mea ha vitamin C. Pea kamata rewa ki nau whatonga i ai kiri o ku palo parema ai kiri. Kaike, i he ko e kulotu ia e ho eiki mo hamata pure, ko hi ko e vahe ko ni me ngahi ongo. Ko ongo whasai nisi pea te aurewa o mai ai artikolo ko ia lau ia pea ko e to'o ni pea me iai. Ko e vitamin C ka pau he kaike a ko e hangen ko ki swimming pool ko na utala noa ki ai. O ku iai mau pea swimming pool pe heni o vitamin C he toko tahko toa pe. Pea ka pau rewa he kai te ke mau mea tokoni mea whainga supplement vitamin C pe ko e Vestapolo tau te fito ki he ngai fo i akau fruits. O se wike e ua koe nau whakafofua ia ku ka mata rewa ke holo pea maha mai a ki swimming pool o te whoki pe ia o au i ke tui pe au ke lai vae. Pea ko ene taimi ko ia o ku pehe ai. Pea tene ue sia rewa ai atamai ai mo uilerei e atamai. Tene ue sia ai mo uilerei ai maa mo whatonga i koe time whakine COVID-19 kono uhinga ni koe ne whai e tuai ai kore ki mua hawai ki muha mta pule ki he koutou rekere ke teki mo tolu ke tonga e koutou rekere ka pau kai ke nau kai ai fruits o ku saiange ai o mai ai vitamin C i he kami form uhi koe o si asima o pe iai koe vitamin C go tau whi mao koe ke whono mao pe ai ki swimming pool ai vitamin C me koe ua ngeau ni manoa miri kalami. Ka pau te mao ia i aho katoa pe. Ai whono mao pe ai ki i swimming pool koe ni e vitamin C. Pea kunehanga o toe vitamin C o kunehanga o tokoni I ke mo uilerei a tau mafu. Toni I ke mo uilerei ai muscles. Toni I ke mo uilerei ai gut health. Toni I ke mo uilerei ai kofua. Pea mo ki o kaniko unofo ko I o lunga he kofua. Pea kunelawa pe o te toni I ke mo uilerei ai ate. Mo hanga whakatonga I, ka bau te ke maupe ai whakakau koe ni, koe fo I ngahi o kani la lahi eni o e sino. Ka neonga pe o kai ke asi mai ai kiri, kau ai kiri koe mea ia ko o te sio ki ai, ka bau kai ke mau ai vitamin C. Pe hange ko kulawe ko ia ane nai, koe whamatala whamui taha ia, whakasaini si, ka bau kai ke te kai a whainga mea tokoni waha vitamin C, pe koe fruits, mo vegetables waha vitamin C, pe koe supplement. Os pe wike ua ko maha rewa e ki swimming pool ko ia vitamin C. Pe a kamata rewa ke palparema whakaata mai, maa, koe kau kia e mafu, muscles, mo e cut, kau maa foki e kofua, pe mo e ate. Ngā au e mahu inga au pito whahe kofua mo e ate, ngau mahu inga kotoa. Pe hangi ko lau ko ia tohi matolu ke ona pehe ata mai o ku sayangi ia I he maa. Okay? Pe pehe maa u sayangi ia I he mafu. Uhi he nau tatau katoa pe ke tau mo uilerei. Kono uhi ngai ia o ku mahu ingai ke tau ngau e aki e vitamin C pe manatu I mau pe ai ki I swimming pool ko ia o e vitamin C. O kai ke whema o ia ke ngata pehe tui, pe ngata pehe lohu I vae, whema o ke alu, o a o ki he lo ulu. Pe I hene pehe, e mo uilerei a ngai konga kehe o e sino. Uai taimilahi ko e talanoa goi ki he kakai e nihi o kai ke nau a usia pe whakakau e mahu inga e vitamin C. Unau pēna tol goi ki mea pe au whai kia po talanoa ke te kaiha te fo I mangu, pe ka fo I siaine, pe fo I tava. Ka koe mea nia mahu inga ki he sino. Pe mohanga lewa whakatongai ai poto oi otua, poto ai otua o ne hanga o mai ai mea tokoni, ke tau mau mea tokoni mea I he plant-based, o ku osi mawai ai vitamin C. Sai, I he hokat koia ki mua te whakatonga I rewa ai mea ni o kumaarie. Koe ngai whakatotolo koe ni hono whai he kau tangata koe ni, mo whakatonga I tuku mai eni I whawhita fitu, ai ka tau pia tolu kuhiri. Nau hanga e nau tolo whakatonga I koe konga kehe o I sino, o kai ke tatau ai vitamin C ko whie mau he ngai konga kehe o I sino. Ka pau te mo whakatonga en, koe ki fo I glands he ko nofko I olunga hiri pe I olunga I he kofua o kui ko adrenal glands. Whe mao he ki I konga ia ko ia ai miri kalami e tau noa ke whanoa. Ko ia o ko ia ke konga pituitary glands o ko fia ke atamai ko whe mao ia mea uta ki lahi ange a vitamin C pau ke whanoa ke nima noa miri kalami. Pa mo whatonga I ai ate kau maa foki ai maa. Kai ke fuloko lahi ai ne fie mao ai vitamin C. Ka koe taimi koe o kai ke ha vitamin C ai pe palo pale malahi au pito. Koe konga ni koe o ku mo whatonga ai ulawega nei koe kiri. O ku ne fie mao lahi e ia ai vitamin C. Mo manatu I foki koe kiri o koe ulaki feitu uia tene hanga o whawhepaki I ha ngai virus pe moe bacteria mo ngai mea kehe kotoa pe pēha o ku fie mao lahi au pito ai vitamin C ki ai. Koe vitamin C ka koe mea o ku mahu inga mao pe uhi ko hono whatotolo he kau tangatani ai vitamin C e ngai konga kehe ko ia o e sino. Pe au ku ha mahino mai rewa a ia o kumu tolu ko ia o kumu mea mai ki ai I he ata pe koe ngalu o pe o ku ha mahino mai rewa koe taimi ko holo e sino matu o tua o kai ke nau holo kotoa o matu o tua tatau. O ku ai be whahinga o ku motu ange ai a te ia ko hiko lahi e nau inu hopi, inu pia, inu aske. Whawhi hanaki ka te nau tolu kai ke nau mau e whahinga kawa maalohi ko ia. Pea e motu a waweange ai ate o toko taha ko ia o kune tautau inu ai ngahi u mea whaito o kona tapu ko ia. Kai ge, ko hinga hano wahe atu uhi u peheni. O kunau whakato ngai, o ku kau ai vitamin C e ngai mea koni. Ka pau ko haongo mahanga, ngai whakatotolo koni ne whai heongo mahanga whaere i pe a tatau, neongo peu ki taimi kehe. Pea nau whakato ngai ko e taimi ko usiwia i ko ia vitamin C, mo ngahi konga kehe o e sino, o ku iai pe e toko taha ia naua o ku motu ange ai konga ia ko ia hangi ko ni ka pau te nau siwi a te motu ange a te toko taha ko e whakawhihonaki ke toko taha ko e ke ongo mahanga. Pea taimi ko wha ike eke toi e lahe ne mau mea toko ni me plant-based pea moe ngahi u fruits pea moe vitamin C o ku haa mahino mai rewa kona kehe ia. Pea moe ngahi vitamini mo ngahi minerals ke. Ka teu tuku at pe e whakaukau ko ni uhi o kuai e taimia o ku tau whakaukau da tolu tau pehe alu pe taimi mo te motu ang o ku kehe pe matu o tua a ngai konga kehe o sino. Me ane ko umaho inga i ke tau mao e mohe whiunga, mao e mea toko ni lelei, kai e mea toko ni lelei, ko kai pulu maasima e aha kotoa pe ukai ko e mea toko ni lelei ia. Mea toko ni lelei, ia ka pau pe haki me i pulu, ka kulahi ai vestapolo pea moe fruits, pea mao ha moe whiunga, ma whai haki lue. Mahu inga au pito ke sino. Pea i ngai whatotolo ko e ni unau. Whakatonga i ko ki nau tolo ko ia unau i te plant-based. Pea mo ki nau tolo unau mao e pea vestapolo moe fruits. Pea moe ki lue, whamau sino. Ko nau tolo ia oku i kai ke matu o tuange a ngai konga. Me tatau kotoa pe e ngai konga kotoa pe. Oku nau foki nau tolo ia o toe tau si iange pe ko e younger looking. Oku ui ko e healthy aging. Hono ui i he ngahi u whatotolo. Hanko ni ka pau oku te hato mahanga u tau whanoa. Pea oku te plant-based. Pea fruits mo e vegetables. Whai mo ki lue. Ko e sivi ko ia a ngahi u o kani ko i loto he sino. Me wa mama o aki i he ngai whatotolo ko ni i he tau e hongo fulu. Mo whatonga rewa no mahu inga. Pea ko tui ko toa taha ko toa pe kulota mahu pe ke ki hata aus. Ke si. Kai ke? O ku mahu inga e tau mau mea tokoni ke mo uile rei. Whakaloku fua a e sino. Kai tau te whito ke ngahi o kani kehe o e sino. Ko e nihia o e ngahi u ko e nius mahari e ni hoko ko e ni. He o peheni. Koe taimi ko aloha momoko, pea kai ke te fuu fie inua wawe pe lahi ange hange koe taimi ko afu. Ka i he nau analaiso ko ia ai whahinga ke taimi ko ia i he ngai tau kehe ko toa pe. Whatonga i rewa o ku kehe ai le volo ko ia o fie mao ko i ki ai vai. Aia koe alu ko ia o motu ange, o kuwhia mao ange e te inu, ke te inu e vai, o whiunga, pe alahi ange. Koe uhi, koe taimi pe ko ia, o ku dehydrated pe si e te inu e vai, ku kamata rewa ke paloparema e atamai, paloparema e maa, paloparema pe moe kofua, mo ngahi ukonga kehe o sino, o ku ia koe dehydration. Ko ia ku whia mao ho e ki muha amata pūri he tau alu ko ia ki he taimi momoko, mo ngai wheitu ko ia o ku mō mea ai. Tau te whitu ka pau ke ngāwe i whare pe o ku ikai ke asi atu ai laa, ke manatu i mao pe, ke inu mao pe ho vai, pe ko e le reitaha e te inu, ai niu, hua o he niu. Pea whakaosi lewa ai o ngongo ko ia I he pōni, kei tola he tau ngongo, ke te whakaosi ati ha taimi, ai mahu inga ko ia ka pau te mō mea ki ai vai I ngai konga kehe o e sino. Pea o fu mahu inga au pito ki tau, ko inu niu o ku Slere yang he inu vai. Ko vai o kai ke loko. Ko ngai vai whake tainimi o ku mei hau I he ngai hina vai. Pea ko lahi o ngai mea ko ia ku to'o ngai u minerals ma ngai mea ko ia pea me vai. Pea o kai ke ai ha electrolyte le iai. Ko niu, huhu ai niu, niu mata veri vale, ko niu mata hiloku. O ku aonga au pito he ku iai ko toa ai ngahi minerals mo vitamini fe mau go ia he sino. Ko iai e hoeki mo e hamatapure. Ko I ngahi ongongo ia e tuku atu I he ahoni. Toki whakaose te tau ngahi ongongo ko ki he wike kahau. Kaike, tumo ke tuku atu ki fo I whanongonongo heni. Pea kahiri ko ia pa tau whoki mai rewa pea mo e polokalama. Hoko mai.
La mai lolo palesi mo lolo francais ko tau pepe lolo me loto Hollywood seuke kai pe ko fo star at 5 akoe te ke fai ka pakao angelo ko lo ia kau angelo hoek mo kai ngatonga mamani ko tau pepe ko lo kau angelo pe mahino leva ko loloni ko to ngai me hina lolo ala pasita amele maktaline le fratolonga mai atu ifia mo kakala iloa le furi me ot motuanga ofa ke guia e pako langa karisi ale hei lala moho koi kalos pani pe ai foki pe mo blue maria mo kalasi ke he maria he ko taimi ko te ke mairi ai oa pe tane ne ke fahi e mere maktarine e foi alabasta ko ene fakatau ele fika telefoni fitu no noa hiva malu fa ta fitu pe ko tolu wa tolu hiva malu fa noa hiva wa ko ia ta leva ke fika telefoni fitu no noa hiva valu fa taha fitu pe koi tolu wa tolu hiva valu fa noa hiva wa ko talatu o ku si e kuleaka aku amu atu he kohono manongi tene ave koi ke vava mo mahina pe te ke maali kana si o fetu u pe mo faka isa tau lolo ala pasita kiai Alasi le puha ko e kumana ia. Kata mua mai vaka o mateki a koe, ko ke mateo teo nai?
Kele he honi, na whawhalala pe ki ho o tuputupu lea whanua.
Le puha, pe o ke pehete u lava tuputupu le whanua ke ngangana hi whapaanga ki whai a koputu, mawe ke toho ma whai mana ia hadai ni.
Ie, ko osi ki wheho o iwi whai mana.
Alasi o matua, ko au mau kis fefine, ko kure atu mei pulotu, o te moho haa, he kuia e whaunga ki tokoni atu ki homo tuunga mateu o ka hoko mai a mate. Ko Lincoln Heritage Funeral Advances, e lava ke ai ha mo malu I putu. Ko malu I putu o ku lava ke malu I ha fefine pe tangata, pe ku sise I hifo hono tau motua I he tau waungima. O ku ne lava malu I ha taha pe o kai mau ene pepa, pe o kai ha ene fika ngā ue. O ku kai foka ke fie mau ha sivi mo I lelei. Te tau lava pe o whakafonu I he telefoni pe I kai fie mau, te tau toi fi tau laki. Ko I whai ngofua, mawe pe o ku pau foki he o ka hoko mai e mate, I loto I he hoa e ua wha, e hoa I a ho paanga malui, I ho account, pe a ke nonga mo e fie mari, pe to e nonga foki mo ho whanau, mo to e ngai whamiri. Ko ia, tuku ai ke e, pe a mo tā ke fika telefoni, ona ni manoa, tolu noa fitu ni minima taha. Pe koe whika telefoni a ane pasina. Hono ni manoa, malu tolu wha fitu, fitu fitu.
Oia we, kua ongo ki puloto e ku ta e matete.
Io, koe whakamore whaoske o mo ui o kio awhini mā pē. Tā lewa ke whika telefoni, ono ni manoa walu tol wha fitu fitu fitu, o ka hoko mai a mate ki o tau whamiri.
Hello, how are you? Koe ai hau eke moe hamata pure u taitari whewhiak mo tolu ki he programa honoa ai kautaha koe ia koe pika me Solik, and I would like to welcome you this evening. Pea koe ngahi mea koe ia e wahe I he ahoni e aonga ia ki he ngahi whamiri kotoa pe moe ni ihi o koe ai ha ngahi u whemau tokoni I he COVID-19. Eh? Okay. Tilly, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, let's start. We're live. So if Maafu Suriafu, do you want him to start or we... before we start, I remember. People ask me, what is the phone number that they can call and get the process going?
So if they locate our website on Pictar, a lot of the community health worker and case management case managers have their own cell phone numbers. So if you're okay with that, Dr. Balu, then I can go ahead and send you that information. But if they go to Pictar, PIK number 2AR and refer to Empower Living Services, they will be able to access our contact information as well.
Okay.
But for now, I can give you my contact phone number if that's helpful.
Okay, yes, please.
Okay, sorry, just one more moment. All right, so my number is 801 839 5192.
5192. Okay. Koe ai e ho eki mo ha mata pule ko e figa telefoni ni ke mo taki ai pe na lava leva ke fai atu ha tokoni ke a te koe pe mo tari ho mo ngai fiho I ko e fika walu no ataha walu tolu hiva ni mataha hivaua. Okay. All right. No, go ahead. What do you have planned for us today?
Yeah, so we have Ma'afu Suliafu on here the call with us, and so if you're okay with it, Dr. Balu, if we can go ahead and have him share his experience with COVID-19, and then we'll move on to our resource. And then I have another community health worker who will also be joining the call tonight. Her name is Melcina Folau. So Ma'afu, if you're available, if we can go ahead and join the audio in addition to the video so our audience can see your bright and smiling face, we can go ahead and start off with a story.
That would be great. Okay, he unmute himself.
You hear me?
There you are.
Okay. Hi. Hello.
Yeah, are you, before you start, are you related to any of the Suriafu in California? Victorville, I think?
Yeah, my uncle, Sione, it's my dad's brother.
Okay, it's good to know. Go ahead, Maafu, we welcome you to Vake Tali Folau, and go ahead and share your experiences. We're excited to hear them.
Okay. I don't know exactly, but yeah, I had COVID during the summertime. I was at work and I work for the airlines, and so it's high traffic and there's a lot of people that come and go. And I think it was just at the beginning when COVID started getting worse, I guess. Like, I mean, the cases weren't as high in Utah. And so, of course, we're not, I mean, there were testing sites, and a lot of people weren't familiar with like what to do or what the symptoms and what to look for and everything. And so when I got it like at the, I think it was in the beginning of June.
Mm.
And so I was at work and I wasn't feeling good. And I just kind of felt off. I was a little bit tired more than because I mean, I wake up early in the morning. So I thought maybe it was just that. And so then I just, as the day progressed, I wasn't feeling, I was just getting worse and worse. And so um, I set up an appointment to get tested. And so I didn't know that I had COVID just yet, but I had to quarantine from work for about 3 days until I got my results. And so when I didn't get my results, they told me that they would give me a call right away if they knew that I tested positive for COVID. And so I went on the app um, that night. I mean, the night after, and I saw that my test results were positive. And just for some reason, like as after I got my test results, I had to call as many people as I could remember that I was with, and I just got progressively sick. I had a fever every day, and I would break the fever. I would have chills. I had a loss of appetite. I was winded, and then fortunately, I got a hold of like breathing exercises because reading about COVID and just kind of reading up on like some of the things that to look for because one, I know our community was being hit by COVID pretty hard at the time, and there were several deaths I know um, before I had tested positive, and so um, like I didn't have shortness of breath, but I know that like just I was getting winded and I was getting so tired in the middle of the day, and but I had COVID. I had a fever every single day.
Mm.
I lost my sense of smell like maybe the third day into it, I think, and then I lost my sense of taste, and then I didn't eat for almost 8 days of the days that I was quarantining.
Wow.
And then I even developed some delirium. Like I had some issues with like not knowing where I was um, because I was taking vitamins. I was taking vitamin D. I was taking uh, Tylenol when I started getting fevers, and then but then I just was getting disoriented. Like maybe in the eighth, like no, not the eighth day. Like maybe 5 days after um, I started seeing more symptoms. And at the time that I was experiencing COVID, I had an uncle that had passed away, and then an uncle that was in the hospital um, that had just moved here from Kentucky. And so um, while it took me probably 10 or 11 days to finally um, get through a day that I didn't have any symptoms of like the fever, but the delirium was the one thing that I was like kind of scared about because I woke up in the middle of the night not knowing where I was. I was even waking up like talking to myself. Like I didn't even know like really what was going on, but like I just kind of sat up in this dark room because I ended up getting COVID. My sister got COVID and my boyfriend got COVID, and had to we all had to quarantine in the same house. And then I
Mm.
had a cousin who was working out of my house because she was using my internet to work out of my house, but she didn't test positive. So we had to be really, really careful. We sanitized everything. But then, yeah, I still didn't have a sense of smell. I got my taste buds back, but then I really couldn't eat anything. And so I probably lost about 53 pounds
Wow.
um, on when I mean after COVID. Um, And so, fortunately, I didn't have any of the any respiratory issues. I did. I mean, I knew that I if I took like a couple of steps down my hallway, I would get winded, but I didn't have any of the feelings like I wasn't getting enough air. I read somewhere where if you sleep on your stomach, because your lungs collapse backwards, and so like if you slept and then just getting a lot of information, like I mean, my boyfriend was doing a lot of um, research, and he didn't get that. His symptoms were mild. I mean, he got sick. My sister lost her sense of smell and her sense of taste.
Mm.
Um, but she was experiencing body aches. So we were all experiencing COVID at the same time, but we all were experiencing different types of symptoms, and we were at different levels of like being sick. And so um, well, I mean, I'm reading everything. Like one, I wouldn't consider myself in shape or anything like that, but like being like, considering myself like overweight, and I like just was bigger, and so I was really scared that I was gonna probably experience um, some of the like the respiratory issues, and I didn't. So fortunately, I didn't. But after COVID, I still was having a hard time eating anything. Like I couldn't hold things down. A lot of things were. I started feeling more nauseous. I was getting tired, like earlier on in the middle of the day. Like I would just like if I felt tired, I would just go to sleep. Um, but the other thing that I've been experiencing since COVID is I've been experiencing a lot of hair loss. Like my hair was falling out in clumps, and I was reading one of the celebrities was experiencing it, but a friend of mine had posted on Facebook that she was losing her hair, and so I was like, I didn't think anything of it until like a week or two after I was better, and my hair was just falling out in the shower. It was falling out after I combed it, and it just, I mean, it's to the point where it's not doing that anymore, but it's still like I can tell that with my hair that it was still falling out a whole lot, and I was trying to attribute it to maybe because I mean I'm getting older, but it just the way that it was falling out was like massive like clumps of hair every day pretty much. And so I was afraid to comb my hair. I didn't want to like touch it because I just thought that everything was going to fall out. And then I was thinking about like shaving it all off and starting all over, but then maybe my hair would keep falling out. So I like there's just some things that I still have a hard time with. It's still um, eating certain things. Like I don't like chicken as much as I used to. Like I chicken was my main protein. I don't really eat too much red meat,
Mm-hmm.
and but yeah, just trying to find ways to eat chicken because it was just like everything about it was not um, like it just didn't appeal to me anymore. But yeah, the hair loss, being tired, like doing any activity like at the airport, like I work at the ticket counter, but now we have to lift bags and put them on the conveyor belt, and even that was getting me super exhausted. And so I'm still kind of dealing with that. Um, but yeah, the just having COVID, like I was trying to keep myself like from going to like large gatherings. Like I have a big family, and they would have like there was a wedding and there was a graduation party, and I just didn't go to any of them because like pretty much I just wanted to avoid any of that. And like even at work, like I wipe down everything. Like it's like almost kind of like OCD because I'm like wiping everything down, spraying everything with Lysol, and washing my hands, like trying not to touch all these surfaces because um, between the three of us, we were trying to limit our activity going out into the community or going out anywhere, and like just couple like maybe like several weeks before I got COVID, there's a there's like a old like I think it's like a convalescent home or like a care center that's just um like maybe 2 blocks away from my house, and they had a COVID like they had a couple COVID issues and cases at the facility, and so it was. I mean, I live in Glendale, and so like living in Glendale, Glendale was like one of the hot spots. We were like in the orange for a while, and it just was everything. I mean, I live in like going to like even afterwards, I going to like the gas station, just trying to limit touching things.
Mhm.
Like it makes you it makes you more aware of like everything. Like even like I remember even having a slight cough. If somebody was coughing at work, like I would like take a step back. Even when I went back to work, people were like trying not to work by me because they knew that I had COVID. And I was one of the few. I was actually the only one at work that had COVID. And then now, um, not having COVID, there's more cases at work now.
Mhm.
And I'm glad that I had it during the summertime because it was warmer. Now with it being colder and it's flu season, like I mean, it's not to say that could get it again, but yeah, just the experience
Wow.
was a little, I mean, more than eye opening. And so,
Okay.
yeah, I,
So you mentioned, Mafu, that you have vitamins. What kind of vitamins were you taking?
vitamin C, vitamin D3.
Hmm.
I even was taking zinc
Okay.
and I was even just taking even multivitamins. I mean, it was suggested that we don't take any ibuprofen, so I was taking Tylenol.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, I was just trying to hydrate as much as I could,
Yep.
but even that was like I mean it was good for me, but it was also I was getting dehydrated because I mean I even experienced for a little bit like I was having like some stomach issues, and so yeah, it was just like one thing to keep yourself hydrated, especially during the summertime because everything was super warm and yeah.
Yeah. So did they ask you, all of you in the ticket counter, to wear mask and gloves, or what kind of instructions were you given?
So we had to. It was when once the mandate went out because I was trying to wear masks when the first cases were out,
Hmm.
but we were told not to wear them because we didn't want to create a state of alarm. And so I kind of felt that I think a lot of things, like I just think that like the rest of the world was experiencing it a lot faster than us. They knew what to do, and like America was so slow to trying to get things done, like testing and knowing like symptoms. And I think because I had a friend, one of my coworkers, went to Taiwan, and she said that when she was there, the first outbreak, they um, they shut everything down. No
Mm.
one was allowed to come into Taiwan. No one from China was allowed to come in. And when she flew back to the United States, she was so surprised to see no one wearing um, gloves, nobody wearing any protective gear, nobody wearing masks. And that was in February when she came back.
Hmm.
And so, when it led up to June when I got it, like by that time, I mean, they had testing sites, but it wasn't like it was only if you had symptoms. So, I mean, I would have never known if I didn't feel sick. If I didn't feel sick, I probably would have gone to work. And plus, I also coach volleyball at Hunter High School, and so I had to be super careful because I was not only working at the airport, but I was also working at a high school setting where kids come and go, and they didn't really have the only guidelines that they had were taking temperatures and sanitizing and washing your hands, but not really wearing your mask. And then when it got worse, because West Valley was in the orange, and then finally they were able to. I mean, finally they mandated to wear masks, and so at work we finally are wearing masks. They issued masks every day for us, and we had like a plexiglass to keep us protected.
Hmm.
They put a lot of signs out, but because with COVID at the time, it was kind of new. So
That's right.
social distancing was so difficult for people, like people would still come up to the counter and I had to like tell them to take like a step back and I know some people were annoyed with it, but at the time we didn't know what we were facing with COVID. I mean, it was just the numbers of people who were getting it, people dying. not knowing how to get it, not knowing that people got it and didn't experience symptoms. So if I didn't have symptoms, I probably would have just went to work like normal. I probably would have just done everything like normal, and the whole time I probably would have been infecting other people. So I don't know between my sister and my boyfriend and my cousin if any one of us was carrying it and then we spread it in our house, because I don't know. Like, it's just, we just didn't know because we work at different places, and we have different sets of friends, and so
Mhm.
like knowing where we actually got it from was kind of. I kept on saying that it was from the airport because people. I see people not washing their hands when they come out of the bathroom, and just people touching their face and touching you know surfaces, and so I mean I blame where I work for where I got it from. Plus, they were bringing in a lot of missionaries. They were shuttling the missionaries, and a
That's
lot of
true.
them, when I would ask them, a lot of them didn't get tested when they came back to the United States. They just put them on the plane and sent them back to where they were from. And so I know when that started happening, my two of my aunties ended up getting it, but they didn't even experience any
Mm.
symptoms at all. They nothing. They had no kind of fever, no cold, no like no cough, nothing. They went through um, having COVID without even like they were even around their family. They were even babysitting their grandkids, and they were feeding them food from their mouth, and
Wow.
no one else got. They were exposed to it, but they weren't. They didn't get infected with COVID. So it was really um, like to put your finger on how you get it, and who gets it, and if it's like how contagious is it. Like it just was really hard to put your finger on it. So like
Mm.
when I got it, it was really. I mean, the cases in Utah were like at double digit. I think at the time it was
Wow.
like 30 cases or something or so, and then it just now we're in the thousands now, and it's so
Okay.
weird to hear that and see that now. And then even seeing people like with my uncle passing away, like that was another thing. It was like having to deal with that. So just the different extremes of COVID, I was able to see and witness a lot of that, like seeing somebody being hospitalized, um, to somebody not having symptoms, to somebody having like a little bit of symptoms, and then me experiencing the fevers, and then the body aches, and then having the chills. Like I went through that, except for the respiratory stuff. So
Mm.
yeah, we're a little bit more cautious now. We're wearing our masks everywhere we go. It's like um, second nature now.
Mm. Great. We appreciate you sharing your experiences. And I see that we have a new guest of that, Dylan. So we have welcome Melusina Folau to the Vake Tali Folau Global Media Network. So basically, back to you, Tile. You are in charge of your group. So who is
Oh,
next?
thank you so much, Dr. Balu. But if I could, Ma'afu, if you could share one pearl of wisdom or for our audience out there in language, that would be wonderful. And then next we'll talk with Mel afterwards.
So you want me to speak in Tongan?
Yeah, so we have a wide group
Let me
of a
tell you,
wide.
my Tongan is probably going to sound French. So I mean, I can impart some pearls of wisdom with and maybe Dr. Palu can translate for me, because I'm gonna freak out if I try to speak Tongan, and I apologize to any of the um, Tongan, because my mom is going to tell me that I'm being Fiavaliloi, but I just would rather speak in my first my first language.
That's true.
But
If you have anything you want to share in Tongan, go ahead. You can share
oh
that in Tongan.
oh yeah. So I I think what people just need to understand, whether they believe, because like a lot of my family, there's half of my family that believes it's a hoax, it's not real.
Mm.
I have part of my family that also thinks like, well, the flu takes a lot of people's lives every year, and comparing it to that, and then there's my family that actually believes that coronavirus is a very, it's a very lethal thing at this time. And because majority of my family that got it, they understand what it is. And I mean, I don't want to say, you have to go through it to understand what it's like. But if for those, for just a wide array of people that are out there, it's like, I mean, we're in this time, things keep getting shut. I mean, because it's a trickle effect. Like we have COVID, businesses are getting shut down. People are, I mean, losing jobs. People are not, like the reality is it's here. People are not being able to go back to work. People are not being able to see their families. I know people who are still trying to come back from like the islands after going there. They're there. They can't, until they open the borders. And it's, I mean, the flu hasn't really done this much of a damage, not just health wise, but economically. And I just think like, we like whatever the guidelines are, adhere to them. Wash your hands, wear your mask. I know it's a little bit you know irritating, but like wear your mask. Be, if you're going to see family, be be aware who's there. Like, there's older people. I knew a friend who ended up getting it and brought it home to his family, and a family member passed away, and he didn't know. So I just think it's like, even if you don't know your status, just be careful of how you are out in the world today, now in these days. Like, just um, you know adhere to the guidelines. I think if more people would do that, I think the cases wouldn't be so high. I think people would be, we wouldn't have so many people being sick. I mean, the spike in it from high schools being open, like my high school right now is closed, and that and it just all goes back to people not adhering to the guidelines. Like, it's as simple as, I mean, you should be washing your hands every day. You should be, if you're sick, stay home. If you have a cough into your shirt or whatever. Just be aware and stay vigilant, because it's when we relax that, I mean, the minute Utah opened everything back up again, more cases rose. And so, like, I just think, even if they open up things, to still stay until COVID is no longer a pandemic and it's no longer an issue, and if there's a cure out there, we do everything until we get to, till all of these things happen. So once they put things in place, I think then maybe we can be a little bit more relaxed. But at this point, I just think, be aware, stay vigilant, and adhere to the guidelines.
Okay,
Perfect.
that's
And I'm
sounds
sure
good.
that Dr. Balu, we're probably going to have to go on a commercial break, but just to be, just to follow tradition of Dr. Balu and how he runs his show, if you could just give us a brief explanation of who you are and where your mom and dad come from, so that way everyone who has had the opportunity to listen to your heartfelt story knows a little bit about you, Maafu.
Yeah, awesome.
My name is Ma'afutu Tonga Suliafu. My parents are Luciane Mokofisi, and my father is Siosaya Mafileo Suliafu. They are both from Tonga. My mom is from Fatai and Nukunuku, but she grew up in Vava'u at Matamoana. And my dad is from Kolomotua and also from Maufanga. And so my parents came here to Salt Lake, and I was born here in Salt Lake, and now I'm back here in Salt Lake. So that's me.
That's awesome. There's a point that you make that I want to do it in Tongan before we go back. E hoi ki mo hamata pule o kua e kakai tonga toko lahi o mone lau a maafu o ku nau whakaukau nau toria koe COVID-19 ia o ku i kai ke mo onia koe loi pe ia. Ka ko ki mau tolu koe ni ku mau osipuke ai pe mau lerei mai pe me he COVID-19 pe o ku lahi kakai o ku mate kai ke Amerikani pe kai mamani furi pe o ku mo oni ai COVID-19 o kai ko ha me alo ia ba kai ko ha me pe ku kaka e kau ki nau dolo nau whae ngai politiki. Ka tau tui ke ngahi whamatala mo ngahi nai nai ko ia ku whae mai ki nau dolo ku nau whae tataki he ngai state ko toa pe ke tau tui ai mask pe sanitize pe ko fan honi ma pe ke no foi api you don't ke tonu ke te alu ka ngai fitu ke ka sange pe te no foi api tau ya to family fok me pe minga we pe oklere au pito ke tau mui mo talango fua ma pe e hao to taka to pe ka pa te na mui ke ngai u framatala back to you Tile. And so if you don't mind, let's break for commercial, then we'll come right back and then back to you to see who's next. Is that okay?
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Paolo.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Tilen. Thank you, Dr. Paolo.
Yeah, thank you, Mafu. Appreciate that.
O ka kai hasi ofa. Ko hana i hana whaito.
Ko manongi o alaha lotion.
Pea ka pau te whia inu tahi hange ka simulata. Ko hana i tene ta ofiau.
Ko manongi o alaha lotion tene lava.
Pea ka pau o ku whia o kata mai. Ko hana i hana whakalele.
Ko tau whare we. Ko manongi o alaha lotion tene lava.
Tika tahape koe e tali whehu.
Manatu, ko manongi o alaha lotion, ko taimi ute milimili ai tā mani, ko hono manongi e alaha, pe anga lele e pau apasia e hoha a, pe koe whai to e ngai loto o hoha a we, pe te tok pehe ai, ke whasio atu.
Kia hai.
Kia manongi o alaha lotion o ota, he te ke whiri me manongi e te au tupu. And guess what? We can ship to anywhere and everywhere. Fika telefoni, hiva wa ni mavalu taha ua ta whawhao no, pe koe ono ni manoa ua fitwalu, no noa whawhitu aua, fitu takleva kia manongi mo alaha, kia fika telefoni, hiva wa ni mavalu taha ua taha whawhao no, pe koe ono ni manoa ua fitwalu, no noa whawhitu.
Ko whanonga ai matala masani imports and exports trading. Hawa iki mo tau kainga, ko mautuku pā ke toko ni e tonga kotoa a ki hono whawhalao mai heo whoi me toko ni, hange koe uwhi, talo, kape, kumala, mei, manioke, lu, pele, maniumata, peikai ngata i ka o kutoe lava pe whoke e kautahani o whawhalao mai mo o ngai whia mao me toko me o seni, o hange koe i ka, tukumisi, wheke, lomu, te pupulu, kaloa moi ha pe whahinga mea tokoni me o seni. I kai ngata ai ka kutoe lava pe whoki mo ho me i kawatonga o whawhalao mai i he whaunga malu mo hao whoki. Io, wakai 11 a koha whainga maali e eni ke lava mai ai ho whui mea tokoni, ke lava ai ho whamili i he Bay Area. Ko ai ko e tau konteina ke Krismasi o lolotanga whao i e Havelu, pe tā puni e aho whao Novema, pe tuk whalao mai ke tau langa Auckland o tu uta mai aho hiva o Tisema. Ka taka whetu utaki ke whawhawhonga i Tonga, ke a Graham molo malai fo'o, ke telefoni whika fitu noa wha tahiwa ni ma, pe koe fitu noa ni ma wha fitu tolu. Pe koe whawhawhonga i Amerikani, ke lutsi whinanga nofo ke telefoni, wha taha ni ma, tolu taha ono no tolu walu ono, pe koe wha noa walu, tolu taha ni ma, hiwa ono, wha hiwa. Tā mai ke taki i muho. Ko e tau uta mei Frisco ni e mawahe atu e waka he aho ono Novema o tau ki tonga he aho wahiwa Novema. Pea ko e tau waka ke Krismasi e mawahe ia he aho waua Novema o tau ki tonga he aho tawhitu Tisema. Ke no whae ki ka taka whetu utaki ke a lutsi whinanga nofo ke whika telefoni whātaha nima, tolu taha ono no tolu walu ono. Pe koe whāt no walu, tolu taha nima hiwa ono whahiwa. Ia, ko e matala masani imports and exports trading ia o ngahi aho ni.
Samoa, hamuia oe, Uatauru umale manuia lomfa amoe moe.
On the track, on the track. Mama
fo ila ulu I se paia ngoto Olela male masina olo uanga se toto Olo upale uale so Ua pochusia la ufa solo Ele faya so ulo to ae alo ita ile fa alo Awe darling So ya te fa alo
On the track, nigga. Track, nigga. Track, nigga. Track, nigga. Track, nigga. Track, nigga. Track, nigga.
All right. Tilly, are you there? So we welcome you back to the program, and I'll give you the time so you can introduce who is next and where do we go from there.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Dr. Balu. I love the inclusive music on your station. We appreciate and love music and all that it has to offer our souls. And I also wanted to extend our gratitude to Ma'afu. One thing that's wonderful about PICTAR, Pacific Island Knowledge to Action Resources, is that we like to approach healing in a multifaceted way or a holistic approach. And so if you don't know, Ma'afu is one of our facilitators for Pacifica Enriching Arts of Utah. And so he has a long been a contributor to perpetuating Pacific Islander culture here in the state of Utah, and we appreciate his contribution to COVID-19 and sharing his story in addition to the arts. And so I wanted to bring on Melsina. She's one of our newest community health workers. She's been a long time community activist and has been doing the work of community health in Salt Lake City for a long time. So Melsina, if you don't mind following the routine of telling us a little about yourself, where you come from, and give us a little history, and then we can proceed from there.
Thank you so much, Tilly, for the opportunity, and Ma'afu. I appreciate your story. So thank you very much. To introduce myself, if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna speak in my native tongue. So Gaseleria Michael, ete me Melsina Ramon Folau, ngaisang pingilap, and that's Pelenicos pingilap, nan Wayne Pohnpei, nan Micronesia, sang Pacific Ocean, as everyone is aware of it. So Kalangan Karus here for letting me be here. Just to quickly introduce myself in English so everybody can understand, I'm Melsina Folau. By profession, I'm a teacher. Currently, I'm a second grade teacher at Pacific Heritage Academy. Like Tilly say, I'm new to I'm not new to PICTAR, but I'm new at working for PICTAR. So thanks for the opportunity. I'm Pingilapis, as I mentioned, I'm one of the 5 tribes in Pohnpei. I'm married to a Tongan, so I have the Tongan last name. My husband is Olono Folau. His parents are Laina Vea Folau from Kolomotua, and his dad is Tonga Mohenoa Folau from Pangai.
Awesome.
And so that's our family history right there. And thanks so much for inviting me, Tile.
Yeah, so we wanted to talk about because the holiday season is coming, and so you know, traditionally, right, pre-COVID, we would have like large gatherings, you know, whether it be at the chapel or at uncle or auntie's house, and so as far as going forward in the, you know, adapting to times, Mel, what are your recommendations, or what could we propose to our Pacific Islander folks as far as family gatherings, you know, in alignment with mandates out there?
Yeah, absolutely. It is it is tough, especially when the season is actually right by our door. Thanksgiving is next week, and that's one of the biggest celebrations. Social, family, public, whether it be public or private, these are really the kick off the holidays. So it's really hard for families to keep their distancing, and yet we're here to actually reiterate that social distancing is really important to help this pandemic keep it in control. So, keep in mind, even with the holidays coming up, if you can keep everything within your own household, and that's where the social distancing, physically keep your distance away. There's so many other ways of celebrating with families. I mean, we have technology that we can actually, take an advantage of and, talk to our families in Guam or right next door, but keep your household because that's so important to help keep the spread of the disease. So that's where the social distancing comes. And it's just not within our Pacific Islanders only, but I think it's throughout the whole, not the nation only, but the whole world. Season is upon us. So it's just a good reminder to keep our distancing, because that's one of the things that we can actually control when it comes to the spread of the disease. We can wear a mask, we can, keep our distancing and keep our hands clean. So keep the social distancing, physically distance yourself from everyone else that is not within your same household.
Yeah, so I know that a lot of, we kind of had to adapt our society of, celebration, right? So we think about graduation season. It's such a big thing. It doesn't matter who you are, right? It's a big thing. And so when you think of what we had to do to adapt to graduation season, we think of like all those drive-by saying congratulations, hey, I'm going to drive by and honk my horn, just know that I love you and I'm thinking of you. And so for as far as physical distancing for holidays, Mel, is it at like I'm just like standing like a foot away from you, or is there a standard protocol as far as social distancing?
Yeah, we like to say, just 6 feet away from each other. But I love the fact that you brought up that there's so many other ways to let families know that you're thinking of them. At drive by, you can drop something at their door, honk your horn, tell them that you're here, or text them and say, hey, I dropped a basket of goodies at your door, But again, keep in mind there's social distancing from there. And then, I've heard people watching movies or family movies on Zoom as a family, or just celebrating holiday season, or even I know friends that have actually shared Sunday lessons just as a family on Zoom also. So we can keep those things in mind. And again, not little, but practices like that, honking your horn when you drive by and just letting them know, and you still can share, but keep the herons within limits, and try not to be in public. And I know it's easy said than done, because we're very social beings, especially at this time of the year, and so it is tough emotionally. And this is just a reminder, let's do what we can do and be creative. Ask friends and families on other ways that you can share the holidays without being physically in close proximities.
Perfect. So, it's a good segue to talk about holiday seasons, and one of the holidays that are coming up is Thanksgiving, and so my take on Thanksgiving, and I think of like all the good stuff, right? Whether it be the pua'a or the kala or the manioke or the lupulu, what have you, right? And so, unfortunately, with the current situation with COVID-19, a lot of our families have been impacted. And one thing we wanted to touch base for our community is that there are a lot of food resources out there, some of which for one of the resources is Jewish Family Services. Now, these folks are open Monday through Friday from about 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And one thing that's nice about this resource is it's a curbside pickup, right? So you can give them a ring ahead of time, or you can just go there from those hours, and they'll put food into your vehicle. And all these resources are located can be found on the website, or you can even reach out to myself or Melcina. We can put you into touch. Other resources are food banks. There's food bank.
Tile, if you don't mind me interrupting, so I can give them the phone number that you just gave me, right? 801-839-5192.
Yeah, and then also Melcina has a number too that can be located on the Pacific Islander Knowledge to Action Resources, or PICTAR website, as well as our case management team as well. And we can get this to you, Dr. Folau. But there are a lot of other food resources, whether it be the food bank, and there are a lot of opportunities to pick up food Monday through Friday at various locations.
Okay, so
and also
we're coming up.
Saturdays also.
We're coming up here in the cold month now, and I know there are those that are the older folks. If they're having trouble with not, paying their electrical or maybe the gas for their heater, are there any help for those kind of folks?
Yeah, there is some assistance that can be provided under the HEAT program, HEAT, and so they can go ahead and fill out an application, or they can reach out to any one of the community health workers, whether it be myself or Melcina or anyone, all the CHWs across the state of Utah, because there's a great network of all of us out here trying to do good things for our people. But they can go ahead and fill out an application, and there can be some assistance for those who are in need of the HEAT program, because it is frigid out there and we need heat, right?
Yeah. So if you are in different states like California, you guys know the resources there. You can connect them if they're from California to those resources, right?
Yeah, so we recently had an opportunity to sit down with a few folks to talk about resources all across, the United States. And so there is an option for us to kind of find resources located specifically in their zip code. So let's say if you're in Oakland, or if you're in Waipahu in Hawaii, we can locate those resources. We just need, to find your zip code. And so one of the wonderful things about PICTAR is we love to connect our people with resources, and we do not want to be a barrier, right? We just want to connect and make sure that people have what they need physically, so that they can be better mentally and be able to hopefully get to where they need to go.
Okay. Ho eiki mo ha mata pule ko e fika ni ke mo ta ke ai ko valu no taha walu tolu hiwa ni mataha hiwa wa pea te nau lava rewa o whai tokoni ke te koe tatau e pepe o whea ai whitu ke iai i Amerikani pea connect newa koe ke ngai resources pea nau tokoni atu ke whila pomu ngai whomu. Thank you, Tila.
Yeah, no problem. And I'm Dr. Folau. I believe Keho Wong, another one of our teammates, has listed some information in the chat on Facebook. So if any of the audience has additional questions, feel free to reach out, or he listed some things in there.
Yeah, that would be great to. So if you can get me those information, so we can distribute them out, so the people reach out directly to you guys, and they know where to connect you guys on Facebook and other media platform. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yes. Thank you so much. And then on top of what Gil already mentioned, or Tilla already mentioned, anybody out there that is within the Micronesian community, also check out the website at om1.org, that we do have resources specifically for the Micronesian households to help with the utilities and other housing assistance.
That's amazing. And I want to get back to the point that Dylan was making about the Jewish food distribution. So it's a curbing site that you just drive by. They have the food there. You pick up and go home. That is a very great resources for our people here, and I'm sure there are other things like that in other states that you can connect them to. Again, the phone number 801-839-5192. Malo, back to you, Tila.
Perfect. And then, Dr. Palu, do you know if there are any questions in our chat or?
Okay, how much is? No, I think there was somebody mentioned Wang, the last name, about the home energy assistance. I think we talk about the heat program.
Yes.
The Jewish family, that's great. Family services Monday to Friday. Tataha ke taha PM campsite pickup. Whahiwanima East, Whanima Nonoa Saute, Salt Lake. Okay. Susi Malohi Folau, thank you, Susi. And there is no question here on Facebook, but there were questions that were sent to me. They were specifically for the heat program. They wanted to know, they have old folks, and when the temperature goes down to 60, everybody's okay, but it's not for the older folks. So, and they need a little bit of assistance. That I told them I'll ask for the phone number, and I think they have the phone number, and I'll send the phone number to them so that they can contact you directly and get the information they need to. They really need that kind of assistance for the older generation, so that they feel warm during these holidays. And the free delivery of food that you can go and pick up. That's amazing. So that was the two questions. The few questions they sent, they're all in those two categories. One is assistance for rent and mortgage payment during this COVID-19, and then the food, and also the heat. So those are the three areas. Are there any other programs that you have that we haven't discussed other than those three?
There are a lot of resources out there in the community, but being that we only have 60 minutes to have the opportunity to spend with you and your listeners and viewers, we wanted to kind of streamline our resources that we're giving you. But for sure, we have various food resources, whether you have been affected by COVID or not, or just just are in the need. But I have Melsina, are you? Again, we have the Mill Creek Promise as well as the heat assistance out there, and then feel free to reach out to myself or Melsina, or even on the website for the additional information.
Mm-hmm. So, I wonder if Melsina will say something about the what's your thoughts on the social distancing when you go to a lot of funerals? There are a lot of funerals here in Utah, in Salt Lake and down here in Utah County. And it seems like the chapel or the mortuary are all packed. Is that compliance or not compliance?
I've seen that, Dr. Bolu. Hold on. Yeah, I've seen that, and that's so amazing, because I've seen funerals that it's just packed, even though the stake centers are set apart, or the chairs are set apart, that you're at least 6 feet apart. As soon as the speakers are over, everybody's hugging and kissing and everything else. And that's just part of that's a very serious issue right there, Dr. Palu. And again, it just comes down to the individual responsibility for each individual that's there. Because I do understand the importance of showing you love and support to show up to these funerals. But it's really important to, again, keep in mind to wear that mask and keep your distance and then wash your hands. I mean, that's all we can say over and over again, but then it comes back to the individual to be responsible and keep those things in mind. And that social distancing is actually physical distancing. And like you mentioned, that's a tough one. It is a tough one, especially with all the funerals, because our community are very affected by this COVID-19. And we're actually one of the highest groups that are affected. So it's really important. I mean, we can reiterate it over and over again, but again, it comes back to the individual and the individual families to keep in mind, to keep that physical social distancing if you feel the urge to go to your family, because they are loved ones. And that's a very good question. Tilly, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, Dr. Palu, if I could briefly share my screen, I just wanted to bring on a poster of available places that folks can pick up food here in the Salt Lake Valley. Do you mind if I share my screen, Dr. Palu?
Yeah, sure. Oh, is that Lily? So I don't know what's going on here, but looks like maybe. Can you share your screen? Does it show in there?
It says that you have the.
So I should have make you a next time, or make you as a co-host so that you are able to do that. And
we can share.
Yeah. Since we only have a couple minutes left for our program, any last word from any of you? Then that will be it for tonight for our program. Right timing, Lily.
Do you want to take us home, Mel?
What was that again? I'm sorry.
Do you want to end our program for tonight?
Yeah, if you have anything last to say, then
I thought I saw Lily here, but if she disappeared again, PICTAR, check out the website for PICTAR. All this information and flyers and posters are posted on the PICTAR website.org. You can come and check it out. And there are other resources and others besides me and Tilly that can actually help out too. And again, keep in mind, try your best with the holidays coming up to keep the physical within your own household, please. And thanks for having us in Kaselelia, Michael.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing.
And Ma'afu. And I think Lily has disappeared. We thank you, appreciate your sharing your knowledge and the program that's helpful for the people. We'll see you next week.
O kuke whaamoe misi nai ki haumonu ke tongo meilangi, tonga e. Ko taimi ko ke ngoi puputu ua he fie ma upa anga whakawawave, ko aku ikai ha tenali, ko e tali, ono meilangi. Tonga Fefe taimi u fie maa wai ki ave ki se ni te ki eua ka aku hala pe hange ko siva e te amanaki koe tari monu meilangi. Iyo, koho monu meilangi he koe whaunga. Malu ilewa aki hau ki kolo whatonga ho ki no whakawawewawe. Pea koe toi make he ku tawhi atu e monu meilangi o whai whatongia mai pe me funga whanua. Koe whakaiki ki o hala whanonga ke monu meilangi ke Bay Area. Hiva hua nima taha walu. Nima taha walu tolu. Fika telefoni, hiva wa nima taha walu, nima taha walu tolu. Pea ko fe tak pe ke Facebook monu meilangi. Pea ke funga whanua ki eua. Fika telefoni, walu fitu walu, tolu wha noa ua. Pe koe fitu nima, hua tolu, hua taha. Koe whanono reia me he monu meilangi loan and finance. Fika telefoni, hiva wa nima taha walu, nima taha walu tolu.
So make it see fun now and out tangutu. Ike ke na breakfast pasi o mai ki he ke fu. Mo ua ko kwa mai kai ki lava e ato tonga mo ua tahai mele. Whai ngata ia hoa mo le ni ngawe. Ko mau tangut ko ini ko ai ke si tafu e haka ko ke hamasi a mele. Hal hase ni te taha ke si lava toko ni mai.
Mori mate fie toko ni ka kai. Anga o no au he no. Ka ko ni. Kasi yung ngoi ni ko ke sa no ngoi. Heni.
Ya bele.
Okay ka ta no heni.
Ife i heni. O tau fitu.
Iyo ko Siva Capital. Ante ko Amerika la hen ko i karen ko i kare. Ko tonga ko Amerika la i kare. Okay ka ta no. Mori na os ai ahi. Ka ko talat o ko mari ngai ahoni ko ngawe ai Siva. Ka ko en tasi. Okay, e nau kāti, e nau whika telefoni te o atu ke tāki ai toko.
Iyo, mere o mai mua e whika ke whakai ki ana si lava hato koni.
Kai ki ha mea kanga ta he nama koe ni.
Whai ngata ia lahi.
Ko ka men ke nofo kolo tomo ua ki ai. Ofa mai ta, ke pe ngai whaunga, ngai whei tuu. Tangata ofa, tangata fie tokoni. Tangata fie.
Ofa pe mele lava tokoni mai.
Tomo tangata lotu. Tangata lotu e na ta.
Io mo one a mele. Siva Capital koe kautaha no malu i ake e koloa whakatonga i Amerika lahi. Pe koe waa fokia o Siva International LLC. O ko nau hala ha paanga tupu interest ke uluaki mahina, pia i ngahi mahina hoko, o ko paanga Amerika pe e ua ki e aho, ko ki i totongi sisi i mo whaka atui ke tauhi aki ho koloa whakatonga pe koe storage fee. Tā mai lewa he ahoni ki he Siva Capital he wawetaha. I e whika telefoni koe ni, taha walungi au o no noa, Siva. Pe koe taha walungi au o no noa, fituwha, walua. Siva Capital koho o kau taha tonga, ma ai tonga i Amerika lahi.
Salu, me fala hola me longo akau. O e kurea ni teu whakatapu, whaka teri ae hau. Kae ae, kolo salu, me fala hola me longo akau. Akenga, oe manu tau akau, koe kakala onu kumaanu. Ki e wheiha kotone, aho whakasiu moro tere. Ongo mano, ki hewe e pao, oe ki e o tā. te uoe vale alo papahanga o manu mataongo laloni e te uoe vale alo papahanga o manu mataongo uokau ulu fonua aela a pea hopo a ufia molata e moutu e mo vavava alau manu o tarikana uokau ulu fonua aela a pea hopo a ufia molata e moutu e mo vavava alau manu o tarikana anusi palataha koe tui mei mata moana pe ihua mai hatau a alo e tiana o e maha a koro tangata e a piko makuho katoka kawa mei no tunofo laloni e te uo e vale alo papahanga o manu mataongo laloni e te uo e vale alo papahanga o manu mataongo pe ihua mai hatau a alo e tiana o e maha a koro tangata e a piko makuho katoka kawa mei no tunofo laloni e te uo e vale alo papahanga o manu mataongo laloni e te uo e vale alo papahanga o manu mataongo Australia, Fishimoha, Hawaii, Inu, Usila,
E hoe ki moe hamata pule o ku taitari whewhia ki mutolu ke hua whaka osi o he programa e whiawhini pia me he mini substation ko ia e pāenga o he Vake Tali Folau. Aia o ku hui whakatene tene ko e PYU Provo substation. Pia ko e taimieni ke programa pia mosane alatini ka hau te kai ke hau mai e tangatani ka tukumua ke shout out ati ki a te mutolu. O kumo mea mai ki he pāenga pia whamalo ia maua i pia ki mutolu. Ko ia ka mo tuku taimi ke mo mea mai ki he ngai programa ko ia he whiawhini. Whamalo hene a Tony Piutau. Ko Tony Piutau whauki pia mo mere Piutau na whakahoko e programa ko ia ko Texas Masani. Pia kuna whakau maua i pia ki he lofa talamasani i he wike ua. Me wike wha pure lulu ko toa pia. Pea whamalo atu e Tony o kau mai ke programa. Li sita ka wha atu vea, pea mi he whoi one, o whaatka te koe pea mui whamiri, malo e kau mai ai pea mui poupou ke programa. Susi malo i who thank you Susi for the program. Malo au pito e tokoni. Ke heni pe lupe kakau manu o whaatka koe lupe. Stella Lavulo, fuoloa ho o puli pea whamalo ke te whoki lere i maua i pē ki he programa lofa talamatangi o whatka koe mui whamiri. Ke heni pēr Lucia Louis Thompson, Lillian Mario, koe i o pēr Lillian te tonu maua i pē ke tau whanwhan maua i pē o tau ni ma. Pēr ku lere i maua i pē ke maa ngai mea katoa pē. Ala Keita Manua Pangai, mahalo apito i kau mai mui poupou ki he programa i he whiawhini. Rinsi po me o ki hene pe mo ki tautolu, una loto hopoi, malo ai kau mai, pia mui poupou ke programa. Mr. Wong, thank you for joining us. James Bond po me, ko e tahawa ke ne kau tare kita o he pāenga Vake Tali Folau, ko ia o kune whai programa mai me he VTF Hollywood, aia o ku kau kai a rinsi ka mawhoke e whanau, tapo me sisters. Malo o pito ai kau mai, whonuku ngungu tau, malo o pito e kau mai moe poupou maua i peke programa, whaatka tik mutolu, pia moe whamiri. Pia kapau he kai ke lava mai a sone alatini, ko sio ke whakaosia i rewa a he ngahi o ngongo ko ia ki he ahoni. Ka ti u whahogat pē ngahi o ngongo, mo wakai pē hataimi e hu mai ai toko wakoeni. Pea koloto ke whai ate update ko hiko e o ngongo whamui mui tahaeni, whakasai nisi o whikau aki pea moe mea goeni o ku ui ko e e-cigarettes. Ko e e-whoki mantui o ku electronic. Pea o ku whakamaka pea nia, pea ko e o ngongo nia ki he whahinga vaping ko ni. Pea o ku uhinga la lahe ua o ku wahewahe atu ula ki, ko hi ko e mo ui. Pea moe mo ui le rei, kono ua, kaweni ha mea o kune hanga whakatupu, ai nofo mehe ako tolahi i ho tau matakari polinsia, tau te whituka tau Tonga. Ko e ifo koe ai ki i ifi koe ni, pea kapau kai ke mao hase niti, i he talanoa moe kakai ni, pea hoko toi pe o heka ke lore i ate, ke mao hanau paanga ke whakatau ai whangi e-cigarettes. Pea tuku rewa ai ako. Pea koi ai o ku whaloloma ai whainga whakau kau koi ia. Kai tuku me mua ke wahe atu ai ngahi mea whasai nisi pea me he ongo koi ia o e wikeni. Aia rewa o kunau pehegu oma he toko tahatolu poi nima miliona o kunau whai ai electronic cigarettes pe koe vaping. Tōlahi au pitu, mo whātongai. Pea koe uhinga ku tōlahi, e hanga rewa he kau taha ko ia o kunau whao e whainga mea koe ni, o ai e nau tolu e nau ki e-cigarettes ke toi lele iange. Pea koe uhiga nau whinga koe ke toi lele iange ke toi lava o hangeha ki mātau, ke huka mai ai e whainga koe unau whai e ifi peheni. Pea kunau hangana na tō, o toi tānaki ati ki ai e ngahi mea kehe, o kai ke tadon ke iai. Ulua ki nau toi tānaki atu e nau tolu e nicotine. Ka okulahiangi e nau tānaki atu ai konga ko ia o marijuana o kunehanga ko ia whawhi atu ngai ai atamai mo ngai ulunganga ke he. A THC. Pea toi lahi angerewa, kai rewa ke toi tuku e isi ia, una wifi pena tolu he taimi ko tau ape. Li ake e ako, ka heka he lori i a te, mo habea whainga mea o a oi peo kai haa. Pea tuku ata e whahinga ko ia ki pirisone, pea mole o nau whainga maari e ki he ako. Tō lahi au pito ka kaigu, o waia he toko taha tolu poi nima miliona he tainimi. Pea hoko atu ki ai rewa i he nau savea i ko ia tuku mai pea mi he senta ko ia o e disease controller Amerika ova i he toko nima miliona he tainimi ko e kau teenagers. Mantu i whaka nau tolu ia o koe high school. Ka ku aluene vaping, hau eiki mo hama tā pūre, o ku iai e ngai keisi e ngai whaitu ke kawai a iutani, ku hau e vaping ke kalasi o no. Pea koe whanau tonga in whanau haa moa mo e polinsia. Pea ka paurewa o ku pehe, pea o kai rewa ke a whakatu amerie, ki a ngahi mea, ngahi tāpua ki utautau e futerie ko ia o e ako. Mo whakatoa e hono tō lahi. Pea koe anga ni koe o i ngahi u ku ova rewa he taini me ngahi u keisi koe ni o ofi e mimi au ki he tolu a whē he taini. Ka kokoloto ke vahe ni uhi ke tausio ki hono kehe ko ia o i maa e toko taha ko ia o ku ifi. Pea mo e toko taha ko ia o ku iftapaka. Aia ko e-cigarettes, pea mo e iftapaka. Neongo e kehe ko ia hona lanu. Ka oku whakatu tāmaki ange e mau ko ia e-cigarettes. Uhi he ulawa pe ia hoko i he wike. Pe si he mahina. Ko iftapaka ko e taha oku laulau i tau. Ka hono lanu ko ia o e maa. Oku hange ko ia oku mo mea ki ai e oku tawhaagi to he maa. O ku lanu uri. Ko manatu i le reipe ai taimina mau ngao iai ke katawa se i piwa i Hawaii. Ko e tangata. Sino le rei. Mo e mea katoa pe. Ko e maa uri ange he kulo. Mo e tikatere utahanga maheni ki ai Tonga. O tafu i tua. Kono whakatu utamaki ia. Kai ke, ko e whakatu tāmaki ko e e-cigarettes ia o kai ke nā lanu tatau. Ka oku hange ha pop ko ane. Ko manatu i uiha ha pai na ia e ki whina motu a mautolu ko ne whaapehe. Mo mai ke tau kai pop ko ane, mo tau tari ai beg he miss naisi. Ai ko e whaiva midnight ia. Ko e taimi gau te sioi ko ia ki he maa ko ki nau tau nau mate ko ia pia me he e-cigarettes. O hange maa i loto hange ha popcorne. Pia ihene pehe si rewa ai alu ai oxygen ki loto kai lahi ai ngako. Ka koe huinga o ku tāfu uai e kakai tō lahi i mamani pe koe hā koe mea o ku mau i he e-cigarettes o ku nehanga o whakatupu ai whahinga mau koe ni ki he maa. O ki nau tōlu koe ia o ku nau wifi. Ai ngahi e-cigarettes koe o ku whao ki ai ai ngahi mea o kage ton ke iai. Tau te whito ku nau te hanga nau tōlu tōkua o sai e ngahi vitamini o ku whao ki ai. Whataha pa mo e THC ki ai, ai a koe konga ia marijuana o kune hanga o whakatupu, ke oa na toi tuku ai iwi. Ka i he savea ko ia kunau pehe, ku ova he vae ua. Ai ki nau tolu ta uanima, pia mo e taha ta uanima, ki lalo he ta uanima, ai a koe me mi tō laho ki nau tolu, o kunau i he high school, pe kunau graduate me high school. I Amerikani, kon ki nau tolu ia ku i high school, junior high, pia mo elementary school. Mo whakatonga iangi, ko a o nia kalasi o no, ko na wifi nau tolu ai whahinga tapaka koe ni o kui koe e-cigarettes. Kai ke. Pea whakafofua rewa unau pehe koe toko taha, me he toko wha kotoa pe o unau drop out I he tamaiki ako. Ai rewa ka pau rewa koe fo I wike ia e taha. O kuai e toko taha ia drop out I he fo I sekoni e waono kotoa pe. Hawaii ki mo hamta puri. Koe taimi ko ia o ku te sio ai ki he teira ko ia o ku o mai he ngai state kotoa ni manoa o Amerikani. Koe reiti ko ia o he drop out I o ku taki mo ai a tau kakai. Pe koe kakai polinsia. Pea koe uhinga ia o he whakamamafa o he polo kalamani ki he lofa talamatangi. Ke lava ke tokoni ki a te koe pea moho o whanau. Pea o pau kua ha mea o ke whemau ke whai ke hapo talanoa o ku tae totongi a he tokoni koe ki a koe. Koe whiga telefoni, wau noa taha, tau taha noa, whanoa no noa. Ka koe mea ni o ku maari e taha I he wike kua o si. Pea moe ngahi wike ko. Kua tuku mai e he science news. Koe anga news ko ni o pehu nau to'o a e whanki mea me he whakatotolo whasaini si o tuku mai uhike ilo e tō taha. Ka koe te sio pikai pa te aluhanga tonu rewa ki he scientific articles o lau. Pea mahi noi. Koe mea ia ku whai mea iai ai o ngō koe ni. Pea kua mau rewa I he tainimi. Koe vitamini ko ia o kui koe vitamin E. Mantui koe vitamini nia o ku mahu inga. Ke he mo ui a sino ata mai. Pea mo ngahi konga ke he kehe o sino. Hanga rewa e ki nau tolu koe ni o nau whau a whahinga e-cigarettes. O to'o e vitamini koe ni vitamin E acetate. Kume miha ngiha maasima nai ayanga ko ia hono ui. Aia o kuke mea pe ki ai I heni. O whao ia ki loto. Whakataha ki ai tui fio ki ai konga o he marijuana. Pea moe nicotine mo ngai mea keke. Pea koe taimi ko ia o ku whamo ui ai ki I ui pehe kalase ni koe whanki peni mana. Ka bau ka peni mana u tonu ke maha paanga ka kuku kai koha peni mana. Ka koe taimi koe u whamo ui ai he guai whakano ki fo I maka. Pea koe hau koe uhilau nehanga e ia tutui ai vitamin E acetate. Koe vitamini mahu inga ke mo uilerei ai atamai mo ngai konga ke ho sino. Pea liriu lewa ia ke whainga formu ia pe koe whainga mea ia o kuke. Ke whainga mea o kui koe ketine. Koe taha nia ngai mea o hau ia me he whamiri ko ia o he whainga mea o tawanga maheni ki ai tonga o kui koe penisini. Koe kalasini. Pea koe taimi ko ia o ku te manawai ai mea koe ni. Kamata rewa ai maa hange rewa ia ha popcorne. Pea tānaki mai rewa ki ai, koe mea ulanu hina pehe ai. Tānaki mai rewa ki ai ngahi u ngako kotoa pe. O nau tala api nau tolu I he maa. Pea os peha wike taha wike ua, na e keisi hen, ai reka pālangi. Os pe aha tolu e ne ifi, koe ulaki ifi, koe ifi ahi. Pea mālolo rewa ai foha koe ni o e whamiri koe ni. O ku wawe au pito ai ne ngāwe mo ne tāmate. Ko iei ho e ki mo hamata pule tau tokoni mo a ke he tau whanau, whamoa puna ke nau whahi ehi mo no ngāwe aki ai whahinga mea koe ni o kui koe e-cigarettes. Ka ki mo tolu ai Tonga, ko hono uhinga ni go hoko ai palopare maha ko riu ai vitamin E ia go o kurerei. He koe whoke kalasia ni hunau chef na do ke asiko ai vitamin E. Pea ngalo ki nau dolo ki fo irea goe I mui ai acetate. Hangei ha masima. Koe ai whukia ke lava o alu ki loto ki he sino. Pea koe taimi koe au whamo uia ai ki fo electronic he wai whakano ki maka. O ku kone whamo ui pe hangarewa he uhila o riu ai vitamin E acetate ki he mea kui koe ketine. Ai au hau rewa ia me he whamiri o penisini mo e kalasini. Pea uke ilo i pe mea ukoko ke kalasini, pea mo e pensini. Pea kamata rewe ke toi lanu hine hinange e maa he ko taimiga o ku asi he ngahi whakatotolo e ni he taimiga o ku nau slaisia ia e maa o e whaahinga koe ni pea koe taimiga o whaawa kai ki loto asi hange i ha popcorn kai ke na toi wā mamao. Pea lahi rewa ai ngā koa i koe uhinga i au lanu hine hina i kake lanu uri hange koe maa o ki nau tolu o ku nau tawanga maheni o ku nau mamatapaka. Sai, aia baki hanga rewa o whakatonga i heni pia mei he ki i kalafi koe ni kono lahi e ni koe whakatupu langi maua i pe mea ko ia ko i cigarettes. Pia o ku whakatu tāmaki au pito ki he high school ke whanau ko ia o ku nau he high school junior high pe ko elementary school ui hange ko klawe ane nai ku kamata ke mau ai fo i fo ko ia pe hoka rewa ki ai pe te nau fe mau ke ifi mau pe he taimi ko toa pe ko taimi ko ka ki ai ha se niti kai ha a se niti a mami moteti kai ha a toa pa anga feitu pe heka i pe ke lori i a te ko hi ke mau ha pa anga ke komi aki ai whainga mea ko ni he oku mau ki nau tolu ia i he THC mo i mea pēni ka o mau ki he maa. Sai, i he ngahi o ngongo whekau aki pia moe ako, hau eiki moe haa mata puli ka pau te tau toi ki i tumo ke tuku atu ha ngai whanongonongo heni, pia ka hiri ko ia pa tau whoki mai ma tau whoi fasi, pia tau wha ose aki ai o ngongo koe ni whikau aki pa moe ako, koe o ngonga nia o ku fu umau inga au pito. Sai.
Whangai no muka, mapu atonga, mawhikau nanga, moe otu momua. E ko ha ofa tu nga a hange koe tala e wholofola, mui fui vai e ngalo nai he ha. Ai tangi me hea te moe whaka anawa, hono wholaua a o se ni mohono ngai ha. I kai ha utu e hakea, tu lau he viviku hono whakahifo, mohono whakaheka. Ai suingi he mai a, rifi e ka e ngā he puha whaangau ta, kofu e kauto ole kere ka he whala, hange hapekia, etc. etc. Peka ala ta amaki mo popo uri ana tula, oia we te mau fefe. He koloto tahi pe mo moana vavale. Wafu. Ko ane a fia mohono ngahi whainga taa, ki he apongi e fia maarie pe a whonu i he fia. Ko hamata paa tene lilingi e ngahi monu ia, ki ho tau ki motu tupu anga, ka ko tau pole anga. Ko ho o wha moho toko ni, ko i vai kau aki ia ki he langa ngā weni. Let's go, let's do it. Siuhu o tu mua na muka Wolf Project. Palestini pentu i pulotu ona ni manoa tolfa ono wanoa tahiva. Peko sekretari mele moala fisi uanoa ono fitu walu ono val tol fitu walu.
O ko hei lai koe nuku hiwa. I kai, koe vai nonu ia e tau whangakui. O katoa ia ono aho mo ono pōni. Pe whakasai nisa ahono ngā hui. He e kuinu ngofua ahono anga. Pea taha awhe nimangi au ahono mamana. Seuke. Pea toi whakaatu i whoki mo hono kakala. He ko hono ao ngā ko tāgi tahi, pea tāgi uta. No ngā ia suka, ngā koe toto, mo toto mau olunga. Saigi ai arthritis, kauti, pea moe kahi. Pea whakatau pasi ai mafte fua, ata mai, moe iwi lahi. Kai whanaafi ai mo uilelei he ko hono tavi ia. He koe nonu, nai tori ia mi Hawaii, Kahiti, Haamoa, pea mo Tonga, pea kuone mawhola i Europe, Asia, pea mo Amerika lahi. Koe nukuhiwa ia pea mo hono ngahi ao ngā, tā rewa, ke otaha o nukuhiwa, ki he ono walua, ni ma ono wha, fitu no ono ataha. Ono walua, ni ma ono wha, fitu no ono ataha.
toko. Kua kufi wau he kai hamu. Wha ampe ia ia ke kike sapate.
Oh, o wei hau family Amerika?
Iyo tokolahi au kise.
Taki o family ave fika vava runners. Ono ni manoa tau noa fit ni menimata. Te nau lava tatongi Amerika. Te au pik e au i vava uni o tiliva ki homo api i vava uni.
Hawe malo au pito toko. Te tālewa ki a mātolu he tainini.
Ko ia ai ka inga tonga i Amerika. Tālewa ki he vava runners ki he ono ni manoa tau noa fit ni menimata. O totongi haki i kiki pe ko haa shopping pe ki he lolo a halai walu ka maulele ki mautolu o tiliva ki o nga ngahi luku whale. Heu pehe pe whatawhata maa whanaa ia. Vava runners, telefoni, ono ni manoa tau noa fit ni menta. Only in Vava.
Ko kai hamu may tungatap. Ala si okay ngay Amerika. Mukatak fitutaki ki Vake Tali Folau aki. O totongi may mua haki foi hotdog. Te kapaika. Kana tiliva may nautol kiao. Te o kapao te eke mao hovahe. Te ke ave te eko hokolo fatonga. Ke ai haki no ikaw tahano ay Vake Tali Folau aki. Ke totongi may aki e kiki. Kagitok tata. Kolo hape ke si mao haki kiki sapate. Ko siga telefoni ay Vake Tali Folau aki. Ko ni matahanoa, ni mafituono, hiwawo wata. Kenau tiliva ngaton malte ki hoklo tufal masiva. Ikai ke tefe nga kikol. Ko siga telefoni, ni matahanoa, ni mafituono, hiwawo wata. Ni matahanoa, ni mafituono, hiwawo wata. Te utali-tali atupe, kokuo ofatu, mea kai hamu. Mei kanatea tonga tapu.
Si vai kolelea, si vai kolelea. Etahisio ata, etahisio ata. Fangakofie mea, fangakofie mea. Fakalave tala, fakalave tala. Ea moko moko, ea moko moko. Fakavale loto, fakavale loto. Oi oto fakapo, oi oto fakapo. Si vai kolelea, etahisio ata, fangakofie mea, fakalave tala, ea moko moko, fakavale loto, oi oto fakapo, for life. Kukunye lolo.
whamalo at hoe ki moe hamata pule mo kei tūtaimi ki he polo kalama ko ia pia me he lofa talamatangi I he fiafini pia kai ke lava mai ai tōua ko sione alatini toki wakai mai ki he ukau pika wiki tua. Kai ke I he konga whaka o si ko e tahaini e konga mahu inga o he hongongo ko ia o ku tuku atu whikau aki pia moe mea whakaako koe ni. Vai vahe mai o kua kia te au ai quote koe ni, a day without reading is a day without learning. Ai rewa ka aha aho ia, o sea aho te kai ke whahalau tohi ai whanau, mahinu mai rewa te kai ke whai hanau, wako anau tolu kia whainga mea o ku mahu inga. Ko iai e ho eki mo ha matapure, o ku kau a lau konga I he ngahi mea o ku fuu mahu inga au pito. Pea kuhange e lau konga ia koe whariki ko ia oi whare. Ka pau koe whare o ku whariki piriki, pe sima, pe papa, ka o ku mahu inga, ai whariki ko ia oi whare. Ka erewa ha whariki pe koe makatu unga ia oi api mo whare, e lava rewa ki tauhanga o langa ai horisi mo ato mo matapā, kehe o ngai whainga maari e hau ko ia pia me he lau tohi pia moe ako. Ai a rewa kono ngahi mea la lahi eni e hongo fulu. O ku pehe ki nau tolu o ku nau whai ai ngai whatatolo, whakaako ke mahu inga ko ia o e lau tohi. O ku lahi e hongo fulu kau nau pehe ka pau te ke to'o beha fo I hongo fulu, o ku ko fo I hongo fulu en koe o ku whai ki ai lau. Ulo aki, o kunehanga e ia o whakamalohi I aianga ko ia o e te tohi. Ea ko ki nau tolu koe whanau ko, ulahi koe e nau lau tohi, ko nau poto ai pe nau tolu I he tohi e ngahi ESA, mana tu I whoki koe ACT, pe mo ngahi usivi pehe ko ia ke korisi, o ku iai ai ESA, ai kongai ku pau ke te tohi e ESA. Pea ko ki nau tolu ko, unau poto koe hono tohi e ESA. Ko ki nau tolu ia te nau lava ke ngai ukorisi. Pea vahe atu e kua usia ko hi ko e whaiakau I he university. O ku te lava pe o tala a ki nau tolu o ku nau poto au pito I hono tohi ngai ESA e ngai mea whakasai ni si. Pea ko ku eke ma upeka nau tolu ko hea no lahi ho laukonga. Ko tō laha nau tolu nau tala mai. Na u whehi au he laukonga. Ka ukuhanga he wha e au wha popula I mau pe au ke lau. Pe hau pe ka taimia ko ofa ngeha laukonga, pe au laukonga au kai ke te whi alau I au kai. Ai ko whika o laki unehanga whamalohi, ka pau e laukonga ho ki tamasi imo ki I tahine, te nehanga o whamalohi ai le rei ko ia e ne tohi ai USA, pe koha book report, ko ia uke taimi ko ia university tene lava lewa ia o publish hangai tohi, pe ko ngai article, ia ngai field pe. Ai ka whika ulaki ia. Whika ua, o kunehanga he lau tohi o toe whakarerei whamaasilange ai atamai. Ko manatu I maupe o guai maupe ai ki kainga tonga unau. Hau koe koe whamaasila atamai. O gai koe ilo I profe whakamasila atamai ko ia koe whakamasila atamai ni koe o kulau. Ka pau te tauhanga ako e tau whanau. Lau ma ope ho tohi. Tohi koe ko ngai kalasi pa uaha tohi uke sa ia ke lau. Koe lahi ange ho lau. Koe le rei ange ia ai ho manatu. Ai koe konga pe ia o atamai. Sio kono mau inga kono waia kono tolu. O ku kamata rewa ke ne hanga o whakarerei pia toi whaka ai anga ko ia o e te imagination. Ko mana tui ko I palopare malahi ia ki mua pao alat koe ki atere. Kau ka lau ha tohi ka ukai ki ai ha whakatātai, kau ia he tohi. Waweangi hono tāpuni I he taimi ko e whakahawai. Pia ko kore be ki hufanga I he whakatapu. Ko hi ko e whungawaka ko ia o ko iai. Siasu sisu kalaisa kau maneo ni ngā haiki puini. Na iai e ngai tohi molo mona ia he taimi ko o ku iai mau pe e whakatātai. Pia ko me e koe nei whai. Ko e lau pe ke whai moa au ki he mea ko wai whakatata. Pa te sio whakatata. Pa te lau, uhiu te osi ilo e whakatata ko e hoko mai. Ai ko hoko lewa whakatata ko a mea au ne whaka ai. Pea ko mana tuu i ko e mau whaiako inilisi, kai toi ngalo e te hingoa o e piskoa Amerika koe ni, na e alu he tau. Ko hingoa o e tangata koe ni ko Frank Bailey. Se, kai peke toi e ngalo e tangatani hono hingoa. Pe ku kei mo ui pe kai. Ka mai rewa he pālangi ka te au. Ko taimiko u ke laua e ngai tohi ko ia o kai ke aha whakatata. Hanga o imagine o ku ke sio ki he ngai mea ko u whamatala ko he tohi. Mo mantu ia e whangi i tohi i he taimiko ia i he high school hangi ko e 39 steps. Mo ngai tohi pehe. The Hardy Boys, wai ngai whakatata, wifo mau pepa, wai ngai tohi kwa kia whakatata. Ai rewa ko taimiko u te lawai o whakakaukau i pea imagine ngai mea ko ia o toi le iange, pea toi wha atange a e te whakakaukau. Kune hanga rewa toi whakarerei a anga ko ia o e te ilo ke ngahi vocabulary. Whakapālangi, pe koe whakatonga. Tataua i peia. E ka tautou lau he whanau e tohi matolu, e re rei ai pe e nau comprehension, ilo e rea whakatonga, poto he tohi essay, le rei ke whakakaukau, mo imagination, pe toi whakalahi ai pe e nau vocabulary. Hoko ati ai, o kune toi hanga o whakalahi a e te ilo, peko knowledge, kai ke ngata pehe whakalahe te ilo, ka u toi wha ataangi a e te ilo. Koe uhi, koe mea koe u te lau, pa te whakatupu, whakakaukau. Koe hoko ati ai, o kunehanga he lau tohi o stimulate ai atamai. Ke he ia peha mi he tokotokoto pe o mohe, he aho pe moe poho. Ai rewa kumahau inga ke tau tuku taimi, ke tau whanau, ke nā waha nau taimi o kulawa ke nau lau ai e nau ngai tohi. Hoko atu ki ai, o kunehanga rewa o boost ai mood, pukoianga whakakaukau, mo i ongo ko ia ai whanau. Mahau inga e lau tohi. Pea toi mahau inga i pe lau e tohi matolu, uhima o e peke nau whakaukau ma o e peke o tua. Ko manatu ma o peke he rea e kuwhangata mai, whanau. Mo he pongpongi o lau hawholofola pe a lotu ka siova. Ka ua pehe pongpongi o lere mai ko kumi hakai. Pea hoko atu ki hai, o kune te hanga o whakalolo toi, e te ongoi mo ilo ke ngai u mea lahi. Koe mea lahi tahai ko hanga whakatongai. Toi lo loto angi a e te ilo. Hoko atu ki hai, o kune toni i koe ke relax, pe koe fie maaria e te tangutu hifo, o se ha te kailelei, pe te lau e te ki tohi. Pe koe tohi matolu. Te mau e nonga mo fie maaria, pe wha te lotu, pe te mohe rewa. Pe ko hono whaka au si, o kune hanga ia tuku hifo, ai mea koe ia koe puputu u, pe koe stress. Koe lahi tahia palparema he tainimi he COVID-19, koe stress. Sai, koe ngahi u mahu inga ia ngahi mea, te whito i mahu inga e hongo fulu, e lau tohi, neonga ulahi e hongo fulu. Pea, koe whamatala, na o mao mai eni ai mathematics, to eni ke u mao ai tatau, o e sayanisi, mo inirisi, mo ngahi ure son ke he. Ko loto pe ke spend haki fo i taimi lahi heni, mohanga whakatonga i aianga ko ia o e tuu ai ngahi mahina. Pea koe aluma o pe koe a ko mantu i koe mea ko wako he whanau mo le rea e whakakaukau me meau. O ku aluma o pe ki o lunga. Pea koe taimi a koe o ku whaafai e koe ia ai sama. Tāpuni ai ngahi a ko. Pea taimi ni o ku wai ke aho whaka au si, mo whatonga e aho whaka au si, loloto pea toi maalunga ai ilo ai whanau ki ngai mea whakaako. Mahu inga ia. nau fiu whenga hono whenga ke toi liriu ai kala kau te ke lawa liriu uhi ke asi oua na toi whakamatalai. Ka mō whakatongai, koe taimi ni koe o kuhoko ai COVID-19 e tauni, pia mō whakatongai rewa ai tō lalo ai a usia ai whanau. I mea kotoa pe, tō lalo, alo apito ki lalo. I ngai laini koe nā. Kua pehefo ki he kau hange ko u whepotano aki ki he nihong nau tolu i ngai district i California, tau te whito ki utani, oku nau teu pia akoi, pia training ai kau whai ako, ke nau ngāwe whakataha pia moe whanau ka pau oku ostuha ne homeworka ana pāsi hawha uike taha, ke oua to'o a ngai poini mea he ku nau, ko hahano uhinga u nau viviri pehe ai, ko uhi ke whakasisi e tropa audi, he ko osi estimate e tropa audi, e toi lahi angenia i he taoni, hato e tauange. Pea kauenia i he mea o ku kapauma o pete te hanga o siofi ai ngai mea whakaako e te whanau. Oa uia ki nau tolu ko he university, kauenia mea maarie, ko wha vahe pea moe hoa, moha ni hikehe. Oku talamai he kaupālangi he university, oku nau whaingata ia ki nau tolu i he online class. Pea te pehe loto rewa. Ka pau mō whaingata ia mō tolu oku iho maurea. Whewhia ki mau tolu oku i kai e maurea. Pea oku si e whanki device ke access pea mo interneti. Ai rewa koe oku he te sio koia ke ngai u whatotolo hao me Siaina, whatotolo hao me Itali, Sweden, ngai whaitu ke kehewa o ki Hong Kong. Oku tatau rewa ai palopare ma, koe online ia oku whaingata ia ai whanau. Ka paupe e hako i ka nau tolu ai nau osi ilo pe ai whamu ko ia o nau laptop pe ka nau device ko nau ngawe aki. Pau mau pe ki ha internet, pau ka ki ha internet ki ho whanau. Ho eki mo ha mta pure kau ia i he mea o whakamamahi. O ku hange na ia ko te taratu ka taha ke alu o huo ai manioke. Pea kai ke oangi ha huo ia ke ne ngawe aki. Pea pau tene tata aki. Ko vaihi e ha ne osi ai manioke ki mua he Krismasi. Oku aonga ke tau ki invest ha ki se niti. Pe oku lay off, pe ku lay away, ko malo ko he mea ia ko lay away ka te tātā pe ha ki mea ki ngahi Walmart, o koe ngahi ku whare koloa unau whangofua ai lay away. Totongi pe ai ki tola tau noa. Pa ulahi ki se niti umau mai, ai atu ke ono noa. Ke wawe e te tātā ka umau mai e device. Pea koe alat fugeni he taimi ko ia e toi whakamaa nge whangi device. Pea utaton ke te matapoto, ke mao e whangi device. Pe koe use, pe motu a pe ia ka ungau e lerei. Ka ulerei mao pe te ngau e aki ha mea o ki whoowange. Koe u laptop ko o vahe tau hongo fulu ia o ku lahi e ne palopare ma. Mo ngahi virus, mo ngahi mea pehe whakakompiuta. Kai ke, ke mō whakatonga i peho oiki mo ham tāpure kono tāpuni ko ia o e ngahi u apiako. Ko uhi ko COVID-19 pea mō whakatonga i e ne tō lalo ai ako ai whanau. Ka utonuia nei tonuia ke he, ki olunga maupe. Ho eki mo ha amda pule o fufi mau ai lotu ke tau lotua e tau whanau pongpongi ho ata mo e fiafi pe tau tokanga iki nau tolu o ku manatu o ku nawo ke ako ka uka ke nau tolu ia ki he mektanolo o tangtangu tua i o tari ki he osiko e ako pa nau hau o pehe ki tau tolu koe matua na nawo ke ako pe au fi mau ki he tau mau e tau whangi device a tau tolu. Pea te au lewa ke na website o access ai IT ai whanau pe o lava rewa o report mai ai mea kotoa pe, ai klasi kotoa pe, quiz kotoa pe, mo exam kotoa pe ai whanau. O hige lawai o mui i ai pe. Hange pe ia ko e tau tō maala fuoloa I Tonga. Pau ma upe ke whakaata he vao ka whaatutu he whainga ni. Taimi ko ia o ku keria e maala, ai moi pula le rei. Pa taimi u whakaheka e maala, whakapuke. Pea pau ma upe ke maala ala. Pea whaia e tokanga. Huo ma upe ke maala ala. Pea neongo pe uka ke ai havao e asihake, ka hangi ko lau i tangata eki, tolo efu. Tolo pe ko heu ke te ke ilo ko wai vao ia ko aluhake. Kai ke, pea taimi ko ia ko aluhake ai e fu ufiwa no lau, tau kamata lewe ke tau whakaukau ki hono wherei, pea tau tokanga ke oa te tau huo I he taimi uha, ke uhi aluhake kere o nofo I he lau, pea koe ulo mai koe la a tutu iai, he la a e kere o mate ai lau, pea hange koe lau ai motu aha moa na mau whaangau e piwa iu Hawaii. Koe lau, koe kitsenia o e fu akau ko ia. He tau whai e ngai tokanga lahi, koe uhinga tau tokanga pehei ke tau maala, uhi au tau whatu a merie ke aha ko e whai e utu tau. E utu ai maala o foha. Ka ua te tō maala kaho mo e kiwi pe utu ai pāholo. Hoeki mo e haamata pure, o ku mahu inga ke whai ai tokanga, hange pe koe tau tokanga ke tau maala ko ia I Tonga. Koe maala ko I Amerikani, tau te whitka te mutolu, tau nofo koe ngai whaitu o ku momoko mo sinou. Hike tau maala tau tau ki whareako ke tau whanau, mo e whakamongopuna. Pea I ene pehe, e kaure rei le vaia, ki he le rei ai ki tamasi imo ki tahine, le rei ai whamiri, le rei ai funga waka ko ia aku ke me ai, pea toi le rei ai whonua o tupou mo hou eiki, I Tonga eiki, kau maafo ki Amerikani, peko Europe, peko Asia, New Zealand mo Hawaii, pea mo Australia, pea mo Tonga eiki. Aia koe angai e tau ngāwe, ke tau tuku, e tau tokanga, ke tau whanau, pea mo ngā, mo whanga mogopuna, te ria ai kahau, mea mahu inga au pitoia, pea kono uhinga ia, o atu ai pea e whakaapa ke teki motolo e kau taure ke reka. He uhinga o ku mau tuu ai, I a whei tuu o ku maalunga, I ho mou ngahi umako e kau sayaniti, pea mau lava rewa o sio o toi ki mama o ange, ke uhiko ki motolo. He kua e taime nihi e hou eki mo e haamata pure, o ku taime nihi u te whaaluko ia mau a ngahi au sia maalunga I he ako, pea kua e whainga nihi u nau whakafuta ki nau tolu, pea nau pe nau tolu ko ki nau tolu pe na nau whai e whainga. Ngalo ia te ki nau tolu, ai kau tolu reka, ai nau whangatamai, whawha e mo whangakui, ai ako nau si mamao atu. Ko ki nau tolu na nau whai e tanu pou, pea ko nau ngahi uma, koe kau saia niti ki nau tolu, o tau lava tuuai, pe tau kaimeri ai I he ahoni, koe whelau lau a ki nau tolu ane afi. Ko iai e hou eki mo e haamata pure, o ku honga mao pega teki mau tolu, o ku mau whai polokama I he paenga e Vake Tali Folau, ho mou tuku taimi, ka mou mea mai ki he paenga. Honga lahi a pito ka teki mau tolu, pea whamalo ia ho mou mea mai ki he programa lofa talamatangi I he whiawhini ka koutui koe lava ia o e tau programa to e peha ki minite wha, minite tolu pea mi heni. Whamalo ke te motolo mo mea mai i he whiawhiwha kolokoni. Whawhi gotoa ki motolo ki he main substation ko ia e paenga i Vake Tali Folau. Oku iai Sunto Lau Makahiri, ka mawhoki a Emery Tofu Makahiri. Moani ke he te nau whai hana hi Polokalama, maa ki motolo. Pea wapau mo ke a i he hiri a Polokalama ko ia. Pea whawhi ki motolo ke mo kawatu ki he Polokalama ai paenga Vake Tali Folau mi substation ko ia o kui koe VTF Honolulu. Mea siwaki ri vai. Rea me ki mahe ka maa whoki ai hoa o siwaki. Te nau whai ngai Polokalama whawhofa ma ki motolo. Whamalo atu ko e ki hām tā pūre na mō mea mai ki he Polokalama, ka koe lawa e tā Polokalama i he whiawhini, ka mō mea